Chapter 51. The next day, early morning, Noah and his team, who had changed their appearance, appeared in the cherry bar in Magic Valley Town. Noah picked up a cherry pie and took a bite. The taste was just so-so, not too unpleasant and not too surprising. I brought a copy of today's newspaper. Boss, Kaido and Charlotte Linlin have reached the top. Noah took a sip of lemonade. Oh, it's expected. Are there any other interesting things? Marine Admiral Sengoku has been confirmed as the new Marine Fleet Admiral and will officially take over in 1510. 1510? Noah murmured and took another sip of lemonade. Bang! Suddenly the door of the bar was violently opened. A few arrogant pirates walked in with figure-footed steps. We, the Raptor Pirates, own this place. Noah glanced at the other person. The person speaking was the first mate of the Raptor Pirates, Kate, and standing behind him was the captain of the Raptor Pirates, Velociraptor Vel. It's an unexpected surprise. REI suddenly understood what Noah was thinking. The next moment, Ali appeared in front of Kate and inserted the black finger gun directly into her forehead. Bah! Kate fell down with her eyes open. Hole. Weir burst into rage and transformed. However, Ali appeared behind him this time and slapped the opponent on the back with his palm. In an instant, an ultra-miniature wormhole appeared behind Weir, and a high-pressure seawater knife penetrated Weir directly. The seawater greatly suppressed Weir's ability, and the high-pressure seawater knife instantly broke through the defense. In the midst of the flash of lightning, Velociraptor Weir, whose bounty was as high as 240 million Baileys, fell to the ground. Gulu. So scary. Who is this guy? I haven't seen it before. Other people in the bar were talking quietly, looking at Noah and others with expressions full of fear and fear. Noah swallowed the remaining cherry pie in one bite without wasting any food, then wiped his mouth, leaving 7,000 Baileys behind. Let's go. Eri casually mentioned Weir, who was seriously injured and unconscious, and then walked away with Noah. After avoiding the surrounding observers, the two disappeared into an abandoned house. Returning to the Nautilus on the bottom of the sea, Noah sealed Veil. The Nautilus then sailed towards Drum Island. Gaia Island is very close to Tsangu Island and is on the same route. Noah and his party, who had mastered the permanent pointer, arrived in the waters near Tsigu Island in less than 3 days. The group of people in disguise landed on Tsigu Island secretly. Except for a few small ports, this ice-covered winter island does not have much population. It is almost entirely an uninhabited ice field. Noah scanned the Drum Island vaguely, and then the group came to a remote jungle. A fawn that was expelled from the group was gnawing at the moss hidden under the snowflakes. This fawn had a unique blue nose. Chopper, who had not yet eaten the rinrin fruit, was still a confused deer. He looked up at the sudden appearance of humans, with a hint of curiosity and fear in his eyes, and then quickly fled deep into the jungle. It's just that it underestimated the terror of human beings, and soon Ali jumped out of the wormhole and blocked Chopper's escape direction. But Noah didn't pay attention to the chase between R and Chopper. He, Weepa, Locky and others carefully searched the jungle. After a while, Locky found the rinrin fruit covered in ice and snow on a dead tree that fell to the ground. Picking up this mushroom-like devil fruit, Noah tossed it casually. For humans, this fruit can only be regarded as useless, and it is on the same level as the carp fruit he obtained before. But for animals, this fruit is a heaven-defying opportunity to change their lives. On the other side, the little reindeer, which was exhausted by R's play, finally lost its strength and was carried back by R. REI was a little surprised when he saw the fruit in Noah's hand. Brother, is this the rinrin fruit? Let this reindeer eat it. This devil fruit is useless to humans anyway. After receiving the devil fruit, Ali looked at Chopper with some evil intentions and then showed a sinister smile. Before Chopper could react, something was stuffed into his mouth, and he felt an unprecedented nausea. However, Ali tightly covered his mouth, not giving him a chance to spit it out. For a moment, Chopper, who was stuffed into the devil fruit, began to change his body, gradually turning into a special humanoid reindeer. Okay, R, stop playing around. Give it to Lilith, let it live with Bebo for a while, and teach some knowledge about human society. Okay, what a lucky little deer. Eri casually opened the wormhole and took Chopper back to the Rum Kingdom's base. Noah and others continued to explore on Drum Island. This island is not big, only about 70 kilometers in diameter, and the natural environment on it is very harsh and not suitable for human habitation at all. If it weren't for the medical and drug manufacturing industries in the Iron Barrel Kingdom, this island would not be able to support a population of nearly 40,000. In the snowy ice field, Noah and his party came to a village. When they saw the strange Noah and others, the locals immediately became wary. However, when Noah took out hundreds of thousands of belly and said that he was a patient who came to seek medical treatment, the villagers relaxed a little. While using the excuse of seeking medical treatment, Noah was whispering about the internal intelligence of the Iron Bucket Kingdom. Soon he got some very useful information. For example, last year, the king of the Iron Bucket Kingdom expelled the eldest prince Musalu to the neighboring Fire Country because the eldest prince abused his devil fruit ability and released a large number of poisonous spores in the Iron Bucket Kingdom. Apparently, the fungus fruit has been eaten by the great prince Musalu. Noah was not disappointed by this. After all, it didn't matter if the fruit was eaten. At worst, he could be transformed into an apostle, or he could recycle the devil fruit after the technology to recover it was successful. In addition, according to villagers' descriptions, although the second Prince Valpo had a bad character, he did not eat everywhere. This shows that Valpo has not eaten the Tunton fruit at this time. Now there is a high probability that the Tunton fruit is still within the Iron Bucket Kingdom, and there is a high probability that it is in the treasure house of the royal palace. After all, the current generation of kings of the Iron Bucket Kingdom is not bad. Under his governance, the Iron Bucket Kingdom has accumulated a lot of treasures. The wealth, that fungus fruit was what the other party was looking for his son. After Alii returned, Noah secretly sneaked into the palace of Tsigu Mountain in the dead of night. Through Alii's ability and electromagnetic wave induction, he quickly found the secret treasure house in the palace. As expected, Tunton fruit is here. The two of them didn't touch anything else and only took away the Tunton fruit. Before leaving, he carved a fake fruit out of wood and put it in the box. Anyway, as long as he didn't eat it, the Iron Bucket Kingdom would not find anything wrong with the fruit. Of course, Noah has no intention of letting go of the medical technology books in the palace library. Over the next month or so, while pretending to see a doctor, Noah and his team secretly collected medical books from the Iron Bucket Kingdom, including copying all the books in the palace library. Except for the witch doctor's book collection, almost all the medical-related books in the Iron Bucket Kingdom were swept away by the Noah family. Chapter 52. Just when Noah and his team finished collecting medical books, a team of 5 people wearing white cloaks and black suits appeared not far from the temporary camp of Noah and others. Cuckoo, are you sure these people are collecting medical books? A tall man in the leader asked in a low voice. The purple-haired woman on the side nodded. I saw them contacting those famous doctors in Tsigu Port, and then purchased some books from these famous doctors. Very good. Although I'm not sure if it has anything to do with free fans, these guys are sneaky and must have some dirty secrets. We'll see you later. Oh, world government's dog nose is really sensitive. What? The tall man's pupils narrowed sharply. However, the next second, he felt the terrifying oppression. Noah's conquerors instantly suppressed the 5 people. Ali punched through the wormhole, and in an instant, the fist wrapped in armed color hit the back of the neck of the 5 people. REI picked up the 5 of them and came to the underground cave in the camp. Then Mary was called in to interrogate the 5 CP agents separately. Although these CP agents were very tough-talking, it was a pity that Mary didn't need them to say it out loud. She only needed to preset the questions. For example, Mary asked which department of CP they were from. The other party can be tight-lipped, but they can't help but think in their hearts, and Mary can determine the information by sensing their inner thoughts. After draining all the intelligence from these 5 CP agents, Mary directly killed them and then destroyed their bodies to eliminate any traces. Noah looked through the information extracted from the 5 CP6 agents. It seems that the 5 elders still have some sense, but they are a little out of their wits against the protagonist group. It seems that it is not suitable to stay here for a long time. Alii is preparing to set sail, targeting the Kingdom of Fire. Okay, brother. After clearing all traces of the camp, Noah and others released the Nautilus at a hidden beach on Drum Island, and then quickly sailed to Tierra del Fuego. After arriving in Tierra del Fuego, they casually inquired about the exiled Prince Musalu, and their location was determined. Mainly because this guy was very flamboyant and often caused trouble. Noah didn't even think about talking to the other party. He directly crushed and knocked out the sealed dragon, and then walked away again. Soon Noah made Musalu into a card apostle. Shinigami, Muzuru, Fruit, plus Veil captured on Gaia. Knight of Wands, Vial, Raptor Fruit. At this time, Noah had gathered 6 card apostles, but as the number of card apostles increased, he also felt that the power of the devil fruit in his body was approaching the awakening state. and he discovered that the major arcana deck is the core. Even if the minor arcana deck is not collected, it will not affect the awakening of the card fruit. This gave Noah a little relief. After all, the major arcana deck only has 22 cards, while the minor arcana deck has 56 cards. Now that he has created Devil, Pambarton, Exchange Fruit, Emperor, Shiki, Piao Piao Fruit, Shinigami, Mizuru, Fruit, he only needs to gather the remaining 19 when you open the arcana card. The fruit of that card will directly enter the awakening state. Of course, this does not mean that Noah will give up the little arcana deck. After all, the large number of little arcana decks can quickly increase the number of mid-level combat forces in the Noah family. For example, the Velociraptor vial was just created. Noah transformed him by exchanging fruits, and then sent him to station on West Cassis Island. The Nautilus sailing on the seabed did not go to nearby Alabasta, but crossed several routes to Broccoli Island, the 6th node island on the 2nd route of the park. The reason for going to this island is not because there is anything on this island worthy of Noah's plot, but because he is looking for the Moon Island near Broccoli Island. Moon Island is an island that does not exist on the current sea map. The reason is that a disaster 132 years ago caused the entire Moon Island to be destroyed. From the few words he collected from the winery, Noah had roughly guessed something. Among the islands that were destroyed in the pirate world, it is estimated that about 10 to 20% were caused by pirates and wars, and only the vast majority were caused by the Tianlong people. Especially for islands like Moon Island that were destroyed by mysterious disasters, there was a high probability that they were destroyed by the celestial dragons. After all, those islands destroyed by pirates or enemy countries will definitely be reported directly by the world government, so there is no need to hide it. One sunny afternoon 2 weeks later, the Nautilus finally discovered the bleak Moon Island, an autumn island, on the sea 196 kilometers northwest of Broccoli Island. After setting foot on Moon Island, although many ruins have been covered by plants, the general outlines still show the former prosperity of this place. Since there has been no human activity for a long time, the flora and fauna here are no different from those in the virgin forest. Brother, this place is pretty good. Alii looked at the surrounding ruins curiously. Unfortunately, the altitude is too low. If the sea level rises by 100 meters in the future, this island will be completely submerged unless the island is moved to an air island. However, this kind of island is not suitable for an air island. Ali also felt a little pity. The reason why Moon Island cannot go to Sky Island is because there are quite a few permanent pointers on Moon Island circulating in the Grand Line, especially the world government. They must have stored permanent pointers on Moon Island. If the Moon Island is moved to the Sky Island, then the world government may know that the Moon Island is on the Sky Island based on the permanent pointer. Unless Joshua's Thunder Fruit is awakened and can change the island's magnetic field, Noah will not casually transport the islands of the Grand Route to the Sky Island. Wander through the ruins of this town called Sleeping Town. Yes, this is where the Red Earl obtained the vampire fruit. In order to find this place, the winery even lurked in Alabasta's palace library and checked various historical records of Alabasta over the past 800 years. After all, Alabasta, as a kingdom with a history of 4,000 years, is still a powerful country. They must have a very good understanding of the Great Line, especially the Paradise section. At least Moon Island and Sleeping Ancient Town are not taboos. Alabasta must have very comprehensive park chart information. The winery spent nearly 4 months and borrowed Ars Cave fruit to dig a hidden cave under the Alabasta Palace. Hundreds of people were used to copy and organize the entire library's books. Read it again. With the information in Alabasta's palace library, the Noah family's understanding of the Grand Route has suddenly improved a lot. Sleeping in the ancient town is an unintentional gain. Originally, the winery collected information from the Alabasta Palace's library to learn about the forbidden medicine held by the Alabasta royal family, luxury water, and the secret of the fruit's rebirth in a fixed area. Chapter 53. Everyone in Sleeping Ancient Town carefully searched every place. Especially those areas where dark rooms or underground structures might exist were carefully searched. However, after 2 days of searching in the town and almost turning over the entire ruins of the town, there was still no trace of the vampire fruit. Sleeping Ancient Town at sunset. Under the bleak autumn wind, a large number of bats were hovering in the air, catching moths and mosquitoes. A curl of smoke rose. Noah and Weepa were grilling Poseidon steaks. Arii and Laki looked at the map on the table with a frown on their faces. On the map, various areas of Sleeping Ancient Town had been marked with a cross, which meant that the area had been searched. Eat first. Noah cut the steak into several portions and handed one to each of R and Laki. The two of them ate the steak, which was crispy on the outside and tender on the inside. Noah rekindled his domineering energy, covering the entire Moon Island. With the assistance of electromagnetic waves, he carefully scanned the terrain of Moon Island. The entire Moon Island is not just one town, Sleeping Ancient Town, but there are 4 towns, as well as a palace ruin similar to an altar. The palace ruins are halfway up the mountain in the middle of the island. From a logical analysis, if Moon Island was destroyed by the celestial dragons, then all the treasures on the island must have been looted by the celestial dragons and the world government. As for the vampire fruit that can be preserved, it must be hidden in a very hidden location, so that it can slip through the net. They are now searching the ancient town of sleep. In fact, Noah was affected by the memory of his previous life. But in fact, in the memory of the previous life, it only said that the Red Earl found the vampire fruit in Sleeping Ancient Town, but did not introduce the details. It seemed that Robin needed to decipher the content of the ancient text to open the place where the vampire fruit was hidden. After all, the suburbs of Sleeping Ancient Town can also be counted as Sleeping Ancient Town, and the ruins of the palace on the mountainside less than 2 kilometers away from Sleeping Ancient Town can actually be counted. But Noah has no intention of continuing to search like this. The next day, early in the morning, Noah borrowed the power of the Piao Piao fruit. The palm of his hand touched the ground, and in an instant the entire Moon Island was floated directly for more than 10 meters, and then he began to roughly tear the ground apart, peeling off all the places where there might be underground ruins. In less than 2 hours, a ruin hidden in a nearby mountain was uprooted and emerged in front of everyone. When the rocky shell of this ruin is torn open, the treasure inside is revealed. Noah and others did not pay much attention to the treasure, which was less than tens of millions of boliaries, but a huge obsidian coffin attracted Noah's attention. Pulling open the cover of the sarcophagus, there was a gorgeously dressed corpse lying inside, with a small box in its arms. Opening the small box, there was a dark red fruit. Is this the vampire fruit? Alii looked at this phantom beast fruit curiously. Noah picked up the parchment book placed next to the corpse's head, opened it, and read it casually for a while. He found that they were all ancient characters that he did not understand, and then lost interest. As for this vampire fruit, Noah plans to give it to Vic. After all, among the core members of the family, Vic is the only one who has not eaten the fruit. However, at this time, Vic can compete with the Brigadier General of the Marine Headquarters with his physical skills and domineering power alone. Of course, Noah is very aware of Vic's potential. Even with a steady stream of vitality, Vic can only reach the level of a quasi-general at most. Therefore, eating vampire fruit is the shortest way for Vic to break through to the general level. After putting away the vampire fruits and treasures, everyone started a new voyage without staying on Moon Island for too long. This time Noah is going to take a trip to West Blue. Considering safety issues, he did not plan to go directly to West Blue through the upside-down mountain canal, but planned to detour to South Blue, and then cross over to West Blue from the Red Soil continent on the South Blue side. In fact, you can also go to West Blue from Angel Island. Just follow the West Sky route and arrive at the last stop of the West Sky Summit. Then go down from the West Sky Summit to the sea, which is the middle of West Blue. But Noah didn't choose this route, because traveling to South Blue was also one of Noah's purposes. After leaving Moon Island, the Nautilus did not sail on the bottom of the sea all the time, but sailed on the sea surface for a period of time. During this period, Noah and others experienced the strange weather of the Grant Line. One second the wind is sunny, and the next second there is a violent storm. This is barely bearable, but the sudden appearance of tornadoes, hail, and huge waves is a fatal situation. Ships that can sail on the Grand Route must either have powerful navigators or powerful masters. It was only because of their strength that Noah and his team dared to sail on the Grand Route without Lilith's company. This is the boldness of a skilled person. After bypassing Sinton Island where Alabasta is located, they entered the range of the 5th route of the park. At this moment, Noah, who was reading the newspaper on the deck, suddenly frowned. Arii, prepare to dive. Although Ali didn't know what Noah was thinking, he quickly took Loki and began to control the Nautilus to dive. Half an hour later, a huge sailing ship appeared in the nearby waters. Jesus, Boo! Didn't you say there was a ship nearby? The instant noodlehead standing on the mast also looked confused at this time. What should we do now? Lackey Lou was a little anxious. As the deputy captain, Ben Beckman immediately made a decision. Abandon the plan to go to Drum Island and return to Twin Gorges immediately. No problem. It's just the captain's illness. Ben Beckman is also very helpless now. We have no way to take risks on Drum Island. Originally, they planned to borrow a pointer to Drum Island from a nearby ship, but they did not expect that the ship disappeared. Faced with the weird weather on the Grand Route, even on the route, Beckman could not guarantee that he would encounter other ships in the next few days, and there was no guarantee that the other ship would have a pointer to the Drum Island. Now Shank's illness can only last about 10 days at most. If they try their best, they can indeed return to Twin Gorges within 10 days. This time they were careless. They originally thought that their opponent was a nobody, but they didn't expect that the opponent's ship's doctor was a disease fruit user. Before he died, he released a hidden virus. Shanks and 3 other crew members were infected with the virus, now fell into a coma. Just after the red-haired pirates left, on the nearby sea, the Nautilus slowly surfaced. Red-haired Shanks? Are you poisoned? Although Noah was at the bottom of the sea just now, with the blessing of the electromagnetic field, he heard the conversation of Beckman and others. Of course, Noah did have the idea of killing the other party just now. However, he gave up this idea after sensing the auras of Beckman and others. Although the red-haired pirates only reached the throne of Sea Emperor around 1514, their strength at this time was already extraordinary. Moreover, the red-haired pirates are known as the Iron Wall Imperial Group, and almost all of its crew members are masters of physical skills, spearmanship, and swordsmanship, and their strength is relatively balanced. At this time, Beckman was at the level of Associate General, plus a dozen other crew members equivalent to the level of Marine Major General or Lieutenant General. Even if Noah tried his best and mobilized other members of the family to support him, he still would not be 100% general. The opponent is sure to be killed here. What's more, he didn't know how seriously ill the red-haired Shanks was. If he is not sure that he can destroy the opponent, Noah will not take action easily. This will not only expose his purpose, but also arouse the enemy's vigilance. The next time he takes action, there will be no surprise. Chapter 54. 3 days have passed since the unexpected encounter with the red-haired pirates. At this time, the Nautilus had crossed 3 routes and arrived at the sea near the windless zone. Suddenly Noah's hand holding the pin stopped. Weepa, come up, adjust the direction, and sail northeast. Yes, Lord Noah. Soon the Nautilus floated to the surface, then turned its bow and moved rapidly toward the northeast. Noah ordered again. Arii, prepare to fight. Okay. More than an hour later, the Nautilus appeared near an island. Noah stood on the deck and looked at the surrounding islands with a hint of surprise on his face. It really took no effort to get it. I didn't expect that there are more than a dozen stomach barons growing here. Brother Noah, there are creatures approaching in the sea. Alii reminded him vigilantly. It's just a little fish, man. In an instant, Noah touched the sea with his hands, and the surrounding sea water floated. The sea water enveloped a murloc. The murloc was wearing sunglasses and holding a meteor hammer in both hands. His body was covered in armed colors, and he swam towards the Nautilus quickly. And the other side, in an island not far away, an old dwarf man wearing a Viking horn hat saw the suddenly floating seawater mass through the phone monitoring outside, and his face changed drastically. Is this the floating fruit of the golden lion? But that person doesn't look like a golden lion. Benjak, the vice-captain of the Ward Pirates? Who? Benjak's expression changed. However, his strength was too weak. Alii jumped out of the wormhole and knocked out the opponent with a fist in an instant. Since Benjak, who was the brain, was subdued, the other 2 members of the Golosidi were unaware of the situation outside. Sebastian, the fishman who fought against Noah, was very powerful in physical skills and also mastered the jujitsu and karate of the fishmen, but it was a pity that he met Noah. Sebastian, who had just rushed out of the seawater, encountered a large piece of iron sand, and was then wrapped into a fishman iron sand dumpling. Even if he tried his best to use fishman karate and armed colors, he still couldn't withstand the pervasive iron sand. Piapiao fruit is no better than Logia in terms of abusing food. Anyone whose strength does not reach the Marine Elite Lieutenant General level will basically die when encountering Noah. This Murloc's strength is almost at the level of an ordinary Marine Headquarters Lieutenant General. Especially after being blinded and with accumulated hidden injuries, his strength can only be considered as barely able to compete with the Marine Headquarters Lieutenant General. Noah did not kill the opponent directly, but prepared to torture him about the training methods of fishman karate and jujitsu. Other side, Luo and Joshua, who were temporarily transferred by Noah, also found their opponents on the Golosidi. Luo faced off against the Ward Pirates' ship's doctor, Nagin. Joshua versus Skyram, a combatant of the Ward Pirates. The ship's hospital room on the Golosidi. Naichin, who had briefly recovered from a year ago by taking medicine, looked at the little devil in front of him with a very ugly expression. Fruits of the operation. You kids' luck is really enviable. However, I have no interest in playing games with you. Chinese medicine boxing method. Aconite piercing the heart. You have failed. Luo put the sword in his hand back into the scabbard. What? Nai-Chin became angry, but the next second she was speechless. Ugh. Nai-Chin was seen twitching all over, kneeling on the ground and retching. An invisible ultrasonic wave resonated with the medicine in Na-Chin's body at a special frequency. This resonance instantly caused the poison residue and hidden wounds accumulated in her body to explode. Even her armed color could not suppress it. Stay with this backlash. This is Luo's special development direction for surgical fruits under the guidance of Noah. No matter how powerful a creature is, its body will always have weaknesses, hidden wounds, poisonous residues, and disharmony. Unless you don't make a carbon-based creature, this weakness is difficult to avoid. Tell me your medical skills and the formula of the drug that can temporarily restore youth, and I can give you a good time. Nai-Chin, who had been torn into pieces by the surgery, had a trace of bitterness on his lips. Is this the trend of the times? We are really not suitable to continue sailing. The frustrated Nai-Chin told Luo his medical skills and the formula of deadwood rejuvenation medicine. Mary, who was hiding aside, exited from the light avoidance state and nodded to Luo. She didn't lie. Na-Chin was very surprised. He didn't expect that there was another person hiding beside him. Luo didn't have the slightest idea of mercy and directly crushed the opponent's heart, giving Na-Chin a pleasant surprise. Since as a pirate, he had to be aware of being killed, he would not show mercy to any pirate. On the other side, Joshua and Garam were fighting fiercely. Garam's cube fruit is well developed. However, the thunder fruit is so powerful that it can almost completely crush the cube fruit. Among the ruins of piled cubes, Garam panted and stared at the young man in front of him. Fu, the thunder fruit is truly one of the strongest logias. The tide of the times, you should quit. Joshua didn't talk nonsense. Wireless power transmission. Millions of volts. Unknowingly, Garam, who had part of his body magnetized by Joshua, suddenly felt a huge electric current in his body. Sizzling. Garam was covered in electric snakes and green smoke, and then his eyes turned white and he fell down. Capture completed. On the Nautilus, Noah, who was monitoring the Golosidi and the surrounding situation, already knew that everyone had solved the opponent, and then let Weepa drive the Nautilus to the shore. The entire Golosidi is very large, with a radius of about 500 to 600 meters, and the surface is covered with a large number of trees as a cover. It is an island ship, somewhat similar to Moonlight Moria's thriller bark. Soon the Noah family took over the Golosidi and renamed it the World. Benjak and the giant fishman Sebastian were handed over to Mary for interrogation, and Garam, the cube fruit power user, was made into a card apostle. Justice. Garam, cube fruit. The reason why the cube fruit fits the Justice in the Major Arcana deck is that the cube symbolizes regular geometry, which is more suitable for the lawful card of Justice. After dealing with the legacy of the Ward pirates, Noah turned his attention to the Stomach Baron on the nearby sea. The so-called Baron of the Stomach, also known as the Stomach Baron, is a giant carnivorous plant that is as big as a small island. Among them, the most famous group of stomach barons belongs to the Soundwave Islands. But this does not mean that the Baron of the Stomach only grows in the Sonic Islands. In fact, the Baron of the Stomach can be found in many sea areas along the Grand Line. The Baron of Stomach in front of him is obviously not the Soundwave Islands, because there is a man named Hercules on the Soundwave Islands, and no one exists here. The Ward pirates came here to collect ingredients from the Baron of Stomach. Chapter 55. Seal the World Island ship behind the card. Noah took R and others onto one of the Stomach Barons. The Petal Island of the Baron of the Stomach is full of tempting ingredients, as well as the animals that are attracted to it, especially those amphibian sea beasts, almost all of which are extremely full after eating. The Petal Island derived from the Baron of the Stomach has a different flavor. I casually broke open a piece of plant meat covered with nectar, stuffed it into his mouth and chewed. It tastes great. Lillian, who heard that she had discovered the Baron of the Stomach, was holding a small notebook and recording the various ingredients on it. The Petal Island part of the Baron of the Stomach, except for the central feeding port, is filled with fertile leaves. These fertile leaves are similar to soil, and there are not only honey flowers, plant meats, and delicious food derived from the Baron of the Stomach, fruits, as well as a large number of plants and fungi that coexist with the Baron of Stomach. Lillian didn't pay much attention to the beasts that fed her into a fat house. but the symbiotic plants and fungi of the stomach baron were all very delicious ingredients. Lillian looked at the dazzling array of ingredients in front of her, and she could no longer suppress the saliva at the corner of her mouth. Brother Noah, can we build a base here? Here. Noah thought for a while. It's not impossible to set up a secret base here. However, it certainly cannot be set directly on the stomach baron, nor can it be placed on the nearby sea. The reason is very simple. The stomach baron will release pheromones that attract animals. Not only will it attract animals, but even humans will sometimes find it difficult to avoid it. If the base is set directly on the nearby sea, it will be discovered by passing ships sooner or later. And the Noah family can't go crazy and kill everyone who passes by. Therefore, a base can be set up, but only in the sky. Lillian, after you go back, contact Monet and ask her to send someone to use cloud-making technology to transform a small cumulus emperor over this sea area and place it here, and then notify me to come over. I am in the cumulus emperor. A small empty island is arranged above. Lillian nodded very happily. Thank you, Brother Noah. You can come here to study cooking, but you can't expose it casually. Do you understand? I will keep it secret. Lillian nodded quickly. At this moment, Weepa, Mantis, and others who went out to explore other stomach barons made a call. After a while, R brought Loki over from one of the petal islands of the stomach baron. Loki was holding a dark purple fruit covered with arabesque patterns in his hand. Noah took one look at the fruit and immediately recognized the type of fruit. Huh? It turns out to be a sick fruit. Sick fruit? Luo, who was not far away, looked at the fruit in surprise. Noah also didn't expect that the fruit of the sick fruit ability user who was killed by the red-haired Shanks a few days ago would be reborn here. This disease fruit is the fruit of the poison Q of the Blackbeard pirates in the original timeline. But there is no problem with this. After all, the poison Q is only 14 years old at this time, and he most likely ate the disease fruit later in life. If Noah and his party did not find this fruit, there is a high probability that this fruit would be eaten whole by the stomach baron, and then the stomach baron would be affected by the devil fruit and die of illness in the sea. This is not because the ability of the disease fruit itself has side effects, but because the seawater will make the esper powerless. Once the baron of the stomach becomes powerless, it will not be able to devour the animals that are attracted to it, thus causing its petal island to be eaten by animals. Clean, then begin to lack nutrients, and finally wither. This is also the fate of most sea creatures after eating devil fruits. Noah looked at the sick fruit in his hand, and knew that this fruit was most suitable for doctors to eat. Ale, go to West Cassis Island and bring Andy here. Ali nodded. Noah's family, do you want to give this fruit to my father? Noah threw away the disease fruit. This fruit is most suitable for doctors. You already have the fruit of surgery. Now only your parents are the most suitable in the family. That's true. After a while, Ar's wormhole opened again. Ari appeared in front of everyone with Andy. Andy, who was confused, quickly asked, Sir Noah, do you need my help? This fruit for you is Paramecia's diseased fruit. Seeing the fruit Noah threw over, Andy looked a little unbelievable. Sir Noah, isn't this too expensive? Devil fruits are meant for people to eat. You and your wife are the most suitable for this fruit in the family. Don't refuse. Devil fruits can only reach their potential in people who know how to use them. I hope you won't let me down, expect. Andy nodded excitedly. Thank you, Lord Noah, for your consideration. I will definitely work hard to contribute my strength to the family. Eat quickly. Andy didn't hesitate, picked up the fruit and took a bite. Luo looked at the mask of pain on his father's face and showed a hint of schadenfreude. Dad, you have to eat it all. I also ate it all before. Andy, who didn't want to be compared with his son, just ate like crazy without saying a word. Noah shook his head, took out Andy's favorite pear juice from the card and handed it over. Rinse your mouth. Thank you, Mr. Noah. Andy quickly took it and drank a large bottle of pear juice in one gulp. Andy, how are you doing with the luxury water formula you obtained from Alabasta? Upon hearing this question, Andy immediately became serious. Sir Noah, we have studied the formula of luxury water, coupled with the medical books obtained in the Iron Bucket Kingdom, and have currently developed 3 derivative products. Noah said with great interest. Tell me about it. The first one is based on luxury water, with the addition of lifeblood ingredients, which greatly suppresses the side effects and allows people to instantly burst out with the strength of Marine Headquarters Colonel. The duration is about an hour, and the side effects will be felt after an hour. It will be very tired and depleted, so I named it Haoshue. The second one is based on the heroic blood and adds IQ grass ingredients, which can make people instantly burst out with the strength of a Marine headquarters major general. It lasts for about half an hour. The side effect is losing one's mind, and after the effect of the medicine wears off, there will be more the depletion of chi and blood, and even the failure of internal organs. I named it crazy blood. The third type abandons the previous ideas of heroic blood and crazy blood, and combines the ingredients of IQ grass and the characteristics of lifeblood. It can be slowly released in the body for a month, allowing people to perform high-intensity exercises while the medicine is taking effect. Through training, you can quickly and safely improve your strength. It has varying degrees of amplification effects on people whose physical strength is before Lieutenant General Marine. I named it Origin Blood. Noah is very satisfied with these three results. Yes, how blood and origin blood can be used by some members. I hope you can continue to work hard. It is an honor for me to be recognized by Lord Noah. Andy was very happy. The two talked for more than an hour. Noah gave some guidance on the development direction of Andy's disease fruit, and then asked Ali to send Andy and Luo back to West Cassis Island. Lillian went back to the Kingdom of Rum, preparing for Monet to place cumulus emperor clouds over the Baron of the Stomach. Noah and his team left the Baron of the Stomach, controlled the Nautilus through the Piao Piao fruit, and prepared to cross the windless zone and enter South Blue. Chapter 56. June 22nd, 1506 in the Haiyuan calendar. The Nautilus, which was at an altitude of 10,000 meters, almost came and went without a trace. Already arrived at the northern part of South Blue. As a temporary navigator, Lockie carefully looked through the chart information of South Blue, and Ali would open wormholes from time to time. From the current departments of the Kingdom of Dawn, as well as the control area, documents that need Noah's review and decision will be sent over. The current control areas of the Kingdom of Dawn include the Governor's Palace of Mackerel Port in Rum Kingdom, total population of 240,000, the Governor's Palace of Lion Island in Sky Island, total population of 12,000, and the Governor's Palace of Ant Nest on West Cassis Island in the East China Sea, total population 11,000. There are also North Blue's Cayenne Island Eavesdropping Station, East China Sea Tidal Sea Base, and North Blue Coral Sea Base. Among them, the population of West Cassis Island has almost reached its upper limit. The population on it is mainly the remnants of the original free fans, and these are all people who have been cured by Luo one after another. The upper limit of the population that Sky Island can accommodate is about 30,000. Currently, there are more than 3,000 Sky Islanders from the original Angel Island, more than 2,000 Uran people, and more than 1,000 Sky Islanders from Burka Island. In addition, more than 4,000 people were drawn from the remnants of free fans to reach the current population of 11,000. To expand the population capacity of Sky Island, more islands must be moved up. However, the Cumulus Emperor near Angel Island is currently limited and can only accommodate a dozen small islands at most. The bearing capacity of Cumulus Imperialis is not infinite, and the natural growth of Cumulus Imperialis requires special conditions, namely the composition of seafloor stone. Huge cumulus clouds can form near Angel Island due to the eruption of submarine volcanoes in the sea below. In other words, the ingredients of seafloor stone are actually brought up from the underground by magma. If we only rely on natural volcanic eruptions to bring the sea rock composition into the sky, it must be a long-term process to form Cumulus Emperor. Noah has realized this problem. For example, the Cumulus Emperor planned to be built over the Sea of Gluttony, the sea area where the previously discovered Baron of the Stomach is located, can only be cut from the Cumulus Emperor cloud layer near Angel Island or Burka Island. This approach is equivalent to tearing down the east wall to make up for the west wall. Noah already has an idea about the composition of seafloor stone. Lillian, who returned to Rum Kingdom, hadn't rested for 2 days before Noah arranged to go to the Black Rock Island where the submarine volcano erupted. Black Rock Island is still the same, with dark red magma constantly flowing out of the crater. After more than a year of precipitation, Lillian has completed the temperature limit simulation of the compound. At this time, her flame burning temperature has reached 4,990 degrees Celsius. But this time, she came here not to test the temperature limit, but to complete the task assigned by Noah. Lillian's arm turned into a form simulating liquid flammable material, fire-killing black dragon wave. The arm filled with liquid combustible material shot into the sky and then crashed into the crater. Boom. This move, which concentrated almost 1/3 of Lillian's physical strength, instantly penetrated the magma of the volcano crater and reached a depth of more than 1,000 meters in the underground magma. The earth is boiling. A few minutes later, the energy in the underground magma chamber was stimulated, and the volcano erupted directly. Fire-killing steaming dragon wave. Lillian controlled the high-temperature water vapor from the surrounding sea with both hands and instantly poured it into the crater. The conflict was like the tip of a needle against a awn of wheat, causing water vapor and volcanic ash to continuously erupt high into the sky. This time, the volcano erupted artificially and lasted for more than 3 hours. During this period, the high-temperature water vapor and volcanic ash erupted into the high altitude, almost blackening the sky for dozens of kilometers around. Eri brought Noah over here, sealed part of the volcanic ash cloud, and brought it back to the Kuan processing workshop on the island to test whether these volcanic ash clouds could be used as raw materials for Emperor Cumulus. The experiment was very successful. These volcanic ash clouds do contain the composition of sea stone. With a little processing, Emperor Cumulus clouds can be produced. The success of this experiment allowed the Noah family to obtain the raw materials that can produce Emperor Cumulus on a large scale, laying the foundation for gradually expanding the scale of the Sky Island in the future. Of course, this experiment also verified that the composition of seafloor stone comes from underground magma. Based on the results of this experiment, Noah asked Dajai's Ministry of Science and Education to set up a seafloor stone synthesis laboratory to try to synthesize large seafloor stones from volcanic ash. The large pieces of sea stone currently circulating in the sea are all from the country of Wano and are almost monopolized by Kaido and the world government. In a short period of time, the Noah family was unable to capture Wano. Even if they managed to plot against Kaido and use strategies to capture Wano, it would still be difficult to withstand the covetousness of the world government. Therefore, if you want to obtain cheap and high-quality seafloor stone products, artificially synthesizing large pieces of seafloor stone yourself is a path worth trying. In Noah's view, the fundamental reason why Wano has a large area of seafloor stone mines is the special underground magma chamber, which forms veins similar to basalt underground. In other words, the seafloor stone component in magma can be compressed into crystals through a high-pressure, airtight environment. As for why no scientists have discovered this situation for so many years, the reason is actually complicated. On the one hand, Wano, as the core mining area of seafloor stone, is closed to the outside world. It is difficult for outsiders to conduct on-site inspection of the mineralization geology of seafloor stone. On the other hand, there has been a civilizational rift in this world, which has caused many technologies to be lost and the number of scientists to be very rare. In addition, the world government intends to control science and technology. Those who study science have either been incorporated or eliminated, or they are simply inside Impel Down City, with only a few who have slipped through the net operating secretly outside, including Vegapunk, who is known as the smartest in the world. In Noah's view, it is just a humanoid hard drive that stores ancient technology. The idea of synthesizing seafloor stone crystals can basically be deduced by anyone who knows the world of pirates and adds some scientific research methodologies. The sea has the composition of seafloor stone, and the cumulus clouds on the Sky Island have the composition of seafloor stone, which means that the composition of seafloor stone is widely distributed. Based on the continuous soaring sea currents in the waters of Gaia Island and the characteristics of the volcanic island in Wano, it can be inferred that the composition of the seafloor stone was brought to the ground by volcanic eruptions. Since they are all composed of seafloor stone, why can't we use dispersed seafloor stone volcanic ash to synthesize large blocks of seafloor stone crystals? People in the pirate world can't think of it because they are fans of the authorities. But Noah is different. He is a time traveler who has watched the development of the pirate world for a period of time. In fact, for many things, you only need to calm down and think carefully, and you can know the secrets. After Noah arranged these things, the Nautilus had arrived near the first inhabited island in South Blue. The group of people dressed up in disguise and secretly landed at the port of this small island, preparing to inquire about anything worthy of attention in South Blue recently. In the plot of the original timeline, South Blue is basically in a blank state, and there are only two places that are more famous. One is the island where the son of One Piece was born. The other is the kingdom of Sorb, the hometown of Bartholomew Bear, the greatest enemy of the pirate world. There is basically no appearance information on other islands. This made Noah a little more interested, and he was ready to explore South Blue. At the port bar on Baimu Island, Noah and his party were inquiring for the necessary information. Chapter 57. Inside the Bellwood Bar in the port, Noah read the newspaper while Ali chatted with the bartender. After reading this month's South Blue weekly newspaper, he looked up at the bounty notice wall next to the bar cabinet, where South Blue's more famous pirates were pasted. Noah's eyes scanned the row of reward notices. I didn't find many familiar people. The later Supernova's kid, Kira, and others were just little kids at this time. However, there was a rather unexpected person who appeared among these reward orders. Katrandim, captain of the Crescent Pirates, collector of beauty heads, Crescent Hunter, Nine-Tails Fox Fruit ability user, and later captain of the number 6 ship of the Blackbeard Pirates. Although this guy looks like an ant, she was actually only 34 years old when she first joined the Blackbeard Pirates, and she is only 20 years old now. But Noah didn't expect that this guy was born in South Blue. Judging from the description of the reward order, Katrin Daime has eaten the Nine-Tails Fox Fruit and has recently hunted and killed young girls from multiple participating countries. Suddenly, the bar door was slowly pushed open. A cup of Earl Grey tea and a plate of biscuits. Huh, it's actually him? Interesting. The corners of Noah's mouth raised slightly. The visitor was wearing a blue and white striped short-sleeved shirt and a pair of blue and white striped frame glasses. Although the bartender wanted to complain about the other person coming to the bar to drink tea, but when he thought about the many weirdos on the sea, a bartender must be self-aware, otherwise it would be easy to cause unnecessary trouble. He quickly brewed black tea for the other person. The man sitting not far from Noah picked up the newspaper and reward order on the counter. Not a moment. The bartender will take the teapot, cups, and a plate of cookies and quietly place them on the left-hand side of the person. Are you a bounty hunter? Noah asked with interest. The man put down the newspaper and took a sip of black tea. Come with us? No, I'm just an ordinary businessman. I want to go to the black country of Poseidon these days. If you are willing to accept the escort mission, I am willing to pay a reward of 500,000 belly. Black Poseidon country? The man frowned. Obviously, he knew the recent situation in the waters near Black Poseidon country, but the price of 500,000 baileys per trip was already a very good price among the merchant ship escort missions. After thinking for a moment, okay, I accept this task. I am the bounty hunter Galdino. Noah smiled and raised his teacup. I'm the president of Noah Trading Company. Noah, Mr. Galdino, please give me your advice in the next half-month. The two toasted a cup of tea from a distance. 2 hours later, a commercial transport ship stored in the cards, filled with rum, appeared in the port of Cherokee Island. Noah took Ali, as well as Chloe and others who came to intern in disguise, and boarded the commercial transport ship named Wonkai. As for Weepa, Loki, Mantis and others, their characteristics as Sky Islanders were too obvious. After entering South Blue, Noah planned to send them back to Sky Island by normal sea navigation. CLO, are you still used to it? President, I'm very good. Crow nodded. After more than a year of transformation, not only has Crow become much stronger physically, but he has also undergone tremendous changes in his mind. Crow's skills in the training camp were navigation and staff coordination, so he served as a temporary navigator on the ship. Ali is the first mate. After Galtino boarded the ship, he had been lying on the beach chair on the deck to bask in the sun. He was not aware of the strength of the members of the trading company on the ship. This is mainly because the strength gap between the two sides is too big. Even after eating the wax fruit, Gardino's wild physical skills are still difficult to compete with the students from the training camp. Because in the Noah family training camp, the graduation requirements are to learn the 6 moves and awaken a kind of domineering force. The dozen or so temporary crew members on the ship at this time are all elite members of the family who have mastered the 2-color hockey and the 6th form of Grandmaster. In the captain's room, Noah looked through the various information collected by the winery in South Blue, including Galdino from the South Blue Bounty Hunter Group and Katrin Dai from the South Blue Pirate Group. Beautiful. Brother, Tequila from the winery just sent news that the Crescent Moon Pirates appeared on Fuli Island. After hunting down several girls there, they also robbed supplies. Tequila has already put his life in paper clips. Hidden among those supplies. After saying that, Ali took out a glass bottle containing life paper and saw that the life paper inside the glass bottle was pointing in one direction. Noah put down the document in his hand. Go in this direction? Yes. A week later, in a calm sea, the Wonkai still kept moving at full speed. At this time, Galdino was on pins and needles. Although Noah had no showdown these days, Galdino still accidentally saw many books through indirect methods. After browsing books such as 5 volumes of dragon slaying, analysis reports of countries in the East China Sea, incidents in the Kingdom of Fervans, human hunting and destruction of nations, Galdino felt bad. Now Galdino just wants to complete the escort mission quickly and then leave Noah and others to avoid being affected. After all, he is not a fool and knows that this kind of thing is not something he can participate in. Just when Galdino was thinking wildly. President, there is a small island in the southeast. Should we stop ashore to rest and replenish fresh water? Crow asked loudly to Noah on the deck. The corners of Noah's mouth raised. Okay, because their destination has arrived. At this time, in the glass bottle of life paper in the captain's room, the piece of life paper was pointing towards this desert island. At the same time, in a hidden bay on the other side of the desert island, there is a large sailboat parked. In the camp on the shore, several pirates are barbecuing, and in one of the largest tents, several white fleshworms are entangled. An indescribable sound resounded throughout the camp. Sister is really amazing. I wonder if those 3 teenagers can withstand it? Haha, you should worry about yourselves. Several of the stronger pirates' expressions suddenly changed, as if they remembered some nightmare-like experience. At this moment, a pirate who was on guard at the top of the island rushed into the camp panting. Boss Sean, there is a merchant ship approaching on the other side of the island. It seems that the other party is about to land. Vice Captain Sean was a thin man with glasses. As soon as he heard the news, he could only stand up and go to Katrin's tent to report the matter. Arriving outside the tent, Sean shouted, Sister Daime, there is a merchant ship landing on the other side of the island. Please handle it as soon as possible. Tisich, what a disappointment. Katrin Daime's dissatisfied voice came from inside. However, although she was dissatisfied, she quickly put on her clothes and walked out of the tent with her weapon. Has the ship landed? It should be almost there. When the little monkey came to report just now, it was about 1 kilometer away from the coast. Sean quickly explained. After lighting a lady's cigarette, Katrin Deem sneered, I've just gotten excited. These guys came at the right time. I'm going to chop off their limbs with my own hands later. Sean quickly echoed. Ha ha ha, if eldest sister takes action, they will be dead. But in order to prevent them from escaping, why don't we divide our forces into 2 groups? Not bad. Sean, you know how to use tactics. You are worthy of being my vice captain. Chapter 58. The other side of the nameless desert island. The Wonkai stopped near the mouth of a small river, and several of its crewmen pretended to fetch water. On the deck, Noah sat on the side of Galdino and picked up a cup of black tea. Mr. Galdino, many people are eager for Roger's secret treasure. Why didn't you go to sea and join them? Well, I don't have that ambition, Galdino said with a smile and waved his hands. Noah smiled and shook his head. I see. There are fewer and fewer self-aware people like Mr. Galdino in this sea. Galdino did not answer, but drank black tea. Suddenly, a large sailboat with a skull and crossbones flag appeared on the open sea. The lookout on the mast shouted, A pirate ship is approaching. Bang, bang, bang. A series of gunshots rang out in the jungle on the island. Galdino's expression changed, and he immediately produced a large amount of liquid wax. Wall of candles. Crow raised his glasses. Everyone is free to fight back. Receive. Boom. Boom. The 2 artillery pieces on the Wonkai opened fire one after another, bombarding the pirate ships attacking from the outer sea. Gardino's candle wall gave Wonkai a layer of defense, blocking quite a few shells and bullets. Right now, a strong wind rushed out into the forest. Haha, I didn't expect to meet the famous wax figure hunter Galdino. Gardino, who was on guard with a gun on the deck, saw the woman appearing on the beach. His face suddenly turned ugly, and he said in a gloomy voice, President Noah, the opponent is Katrin Daime, the captain of the Crescent Pirates. Her strength is extraordinary. I may not be able to protect you later. You should pay attention to your own safety. As soon as he finished speaking, Galdino's hands turned into rotating machine guns. Candle Gatling. Bang, bang, bang. Countless candle bullets swept towards Katrin Deem and the pirates behind her. Katrin Dieme's body instantly expanded in a large circle and entered the form of an orc. 9 foxtails were waving. Her hands and feet turned into fox claws, and fox ears popped out of her head. Hey! Ha ha ha! Just let me see the power of the wax fruit. Of course, Galdino would not stupidly rush over to fight with the animal-type ability user. He immediately created a dozen candle soldiers, used the candle soldiers as cover, and fired cold shots from behind. The 2 sides fought fiercely back and forth on the beach. And the other side, the Crescent Moon pirate ship was approaching quickly, unaware of the danger that was just around the corner. Noah drank black tea the whole time and had no intention of taking action. Even Ali was uninterested. When the distance between the 2 ships is less than 100 meters, Crow took off his black suit, and Moonwalk appeared on the deck of the Crescent Moon. Sean, the vice captain of the Crescent Pirates, didn't react for a moment. Crow's Espada Catclaw had already slit his throat. Poof! Blood spurted out on the deck. Sean couldn't even scream, so he fell to the ground and twitched. You are so weak. A worthless scum. As soon as he finished speaking, 5 more pirates had their throats cut and died. Terror instantly enveloped the hearts of all pirates. Some of the timid pirates were already trembling with fear. Shoot quickly. Let's go up together. Shoulder to shoulder. Kill. Unfortunately, the strength gap between the two sides was too great. Crow slaughtered all the pirates on the crescent moon without even using his weapon color. At this time, Katrin Daime, who was fighting with Gardino, did not notice the tragedy on the crescent moon, because the opponent she faced was Gardino, who liked to use the old 6 tactics, and the two sides were evenly matched. Crow, without a drop of blood on his body, returned to the deck of the Wonkai. Sir, do you want me to continue? Noah shook his head. Wait a minute, if Gardino loses, you take action? As ordered. Crow stepped aside and wiped the Espada cat's paws with a towel, but his eyes were fixed on the battle on the beach. The other pirates on the beach were also cleaned up by the temporary crew one after another. At this time, Katrin Daime finally came to her senses. She found that not only her men on the beach were killed, but even the crescent moon was motionless, which gave her a bad feeling. Similarly, Gardino also noticed the changes around him. Were all the other pirates killed? Something's wrong. Something's very wrong. Gardino and Katrin Daime stopped at the same time, and then observed their surroundings vigilantly. You won't know if you don't look at it, but you will be shocked when you look at it. The two of them found that the pirates around them died very neatly, almost all with one blow. Coupled with the spotless Noah, Crow and others on the Wonkai, the two of them were highly wary of Noah and his party. Seeing the two people stop, Crow knew that he could no longer continue watching the show. He shaved his head and appeared in front of Katrin Daime in an instant. When Katrin Daime saw this scene, her mind couldn't help but think of a Marine colonel she had met before, who would also suddenly appear with physical skills like this. What a waste of a fantasy beast fruit. Crow's cat's paw suddenly turned black. Silent killing technique? Not good. Katrin Daime's animal instinct reacted instantly, and her hair stood on end like a frightened kitten. Poof. 5 wounds were torn open in her abdomen in an instant, and blood gushed out. Even the pain did not have time to be fed back to the brain. Throat, heart, femoral artery, kidneys, spine. Poof. Poof. The silent cat claw attack avoided all vital points, but at this time, Katrin Daime's body was covered with wounds, and the blood that kept pouring out made her body weaker and weaker. If she hadn't been a Phantom Beast type user, she would have died long ago. Gardino, who was not far away, felt a biting coldness all over his body. He did not expect that this gentle navigator on the ship had such terrifying strength. Suddenly, Noah raised his eyebrows, and then a hidden electromagnetic wave erupted from his body. 11 kilometers away on the sea, a news bird is flying over here. The next moment, an invisible electric current emerged from the news bird, and then the news bird smoked and fell from the air into the sea. His eyes returned to the desert island. Katrin Daime had fallen to the ground, her whole body covered in blood. Noah threw out a card and sealed the opponent. At this time, in the forest, the few members who had pretended to fetch water appeared on the beach with 5 lifeless-looking teenagers. Apparently, they went to the other side of the island to clean up the remaining pirates in the pirate camp, and these 5 teenagers were successfully rescued. Noah knew very well that after being tortured by Katrin Daime in turn, these teenagers were greatly harmed physically and mentally, and could only be temporarily sent to a training camp for psychological counseling. However, there is another person on the beach at this time who needs to be dealt with. Noah looked at Gardino. He showed a big white face and asked with a half-smile, Mr. Gardino, I wonder what you have learned after reading those books? What? Gardino was surprised at first, but then realized, did you do it on purpose? What do you think? Noah asked. Suddenly, Gardino felt anguish in his heart that he couldn't express. He knew that he was very likely to be on a pirate ship, and it was an extraordinary pirate ship. He asked bitterly, what do you want? I just want to sincerely invite Mr. Gardino to join our big family and create a new world together. What do you think? Haha, no. Although he wanted to answer this, Gardino knew that he had no room to refuse. Especially after seeing Crow gearing up at the side, Gardino decisively gave in. Okay, I join. I join. Chapter 59. The journey of Wonkai continues. Although Gardino agreed to join, Noah did not immediately let him join the training camp, mainly because he was older and was 21 years old this year. So Noah temporarily arranged for Gardino to go with the ship. This time, their destination is the famous Changsho tribe in South Blue, the White Mountain Kingdom. The culture of the White Mountain Kingdom is quite special, similar to West Blue's Flower Country. The later captain of the broadcast pirates, Skalachiman Apu, was a member of the Long Hands clan born in the White Mountain Kingdom of South Blue. The purpose of Noah and his party is to find the sound fruit that has not been eaten by Apu. In fact, the correct name of this fruit should be the musical instrument fruit. In the plot of One Piece, there are 3 music-related fruits, namely the sonic fruit, the song fruit, and the sound fruit. Judging from the subsequent development of Apu's abilities, the concept of the sound fruit is that the musical instrument supersedes the human body. Yuta's singing fruit, on the other hand, is biased toward the superpower of the concept of song melody. The sonic fruit eaten by Anthony has superpowers that are biased towards the physical nature of sound vibrations. There are certain differences and overlaps between the 3. As for the sound fruit, Noah found it in the White Mountain Kingdom after divination using tarot cards. On the journey to the White Mountain Kingdom at full speed, Galdino could only bite the bullet and accept Noah's comprehensive teachings. In addition to cultural classes, there were also domineering classes, physical skills classes, and ability development classes. Noah watched Gardino making wax soldiers and various candle weapons, and reminded him calmly, "Your development in candle shaping is already very good, but you have not fully understood the conceptual essence of the wax fruit." Conceptual essence? The semi-illiterate Galtino looked confused. Apparently, he didn't know the essence of wax. The essence of wax is solid grease. Do you understand? The wax you made with your ability is actually paraffin wax. Galtino pinched the wax ball in his hand. After a while, the wax ball melted into a puddle of oil. Noah continued, "Paraffin is a wax, butter is also a wax, soap is also a wax, and various greases are actually a type of wax." He casually took out a row of reagent bottles from the card warehouse. These reagent bottles contained various waxes, including paraffin wax, montan wax, beeswax, insect wax, spermaceti wax, wool wax, wood wax, rice bran wax, coconut wax, butter, soap, cheese, etc. Galtino picked up a piece of butter and felt its physical structure. After a while, he turned the wax on his other hand into butter. "Master Noah, it seems butter is nothing special? I can do it just like paraffin." Noah shook his head. Every substance has its own characteristics. There are rarely 2 substances with the same physical properties. Can paraffin be eaten? Butter can supplement nutrition, which paraffin cannot do. Galtino was thoughtful. He ate the butter on his hand and discovered the properties that the wax products did not have before. You can combine butter and cheese and adjust the proportions and ingredients to create a creamy wax that can be used as an emergency food, Noah suggests. In Noah's view, the wax fruit is the superior of the cheese fruit, butter fruit, and soap fruit. Although wax fruit cannot produce permanent wax products out of thin air, it can use the existing oils to carry out large-scale modification and manufacturing. For example, industrially produced paraffin oil can be used to make butter, cheese, soap, and beeswax, or vice versa. This kind of modified manufacturing is the key development direction of the wax fruit, a creative devil fruit. In addition to the development of these special wax products, Noah also pointed out some other development directions. Your application of the wax fruit is too superficial. As a devil fruit user, you should know that users with abilities will be restrained by seawater. Galdino nodded. "I know this, but you don't know that the wax fruit is one of the few devil fruits that can allow users with abilities to enter seawater." "What? Can I still go into the water?" "The wax coating is waterproof. You'll know after you try it." Galtino quickly smeared a layer of wax on himself, and then put his hand into the bucket of seawater. Sure enough, his hands were completely immersed in the seawater, but his body did not feel weak, which made him involuntarily excited. "Great, I can swim in the sea again." "Don't be too happy. The wax coating is indeed waterproof, but the wax coating is also fragile, which means that if you are in the sea and are attacked by sea monsters or enemies, you may be killed in one blow." Gulu. Gardino was startled, and the thought of the wax coating cracking in the sea made him shudder. "And you haven't discovered another problem yet. The wax coating is just like putting a diving suit on you, but you are not a fishman and cannot breathe normally in the sea. This problem must be solved. Lord Noah, you should have something to do, right?" Galdino became more and more respectful to Noah. "There are 2 ways. One is to carry a respirator and oxygen cylinder with you. The other is artificial fish gills." There was nothing difficult for Galdino to understand the first method, but the second method made him, who was already poor in knowledge, feel the IQ gap between people. "Master Noah, where can I buy artificial fish gills?" Noah looked like you were out of your mind. "Have you eaten the wax fruit in vain? Don't you know how to make such a simple thing yourself?" Uh, Galdino pointed to his face. I make it myself? Isn't this something difficult? Stupid. Don't you know how to catch a few fish and imitate their gill structures? Noah scolded, somewhat hating the iron. That seems okay. You are indeed Lord Noah. Galdino clapped his fist on the palm of his hand, looking like he suddenly understood. This situation is also a scene that Noah often encounters when he guides others to develop devil fruit abilities. In order to speed up the development of Galdino's abilities, Noah directly threw him into the sea for 2 hours every day, and then tied him with a rope to keep his wax coating and wax gills in the sea. At other times, Crow used the armed color to beat Galdino's body, letting him feel the armed color and trying to stimulate his knowledge color. On the way to the White Mountain Kingdom, Galdino fully felt what pain and joy are. Of course, Noah also paid great attention to ideological education. Through words and deeds, Galdino realized the true face of the world. 1 month later, the Wonkai arrived at Yuzu Island in the White Mountain Kingdom. After disguising themselves, Noah and his party stopped at Yuzu Port on Yuzu Island and prepared to collect information about the kingdom. Inside a bar in the port, Noah and Galdino were drinking black tea and got some news from the bartender and a dozen guests. Chapter 60. Noah put down the teacup and picked up the hat on the side. We should go. The two left the bar. They just heard the news that an underground auction will be held on a deserted island not far from Pomelo Island. The auction is in 4 days. However, this kind of underground auction is by invitation only, and you can't get in without an introduction from an acquaintance. Galdino asked with some confusion, Mr. President, how do we get the invitation letter? Haha, you will know when the time comes. The two returned to the Wonkai. That night, Noah and his team used the power of Piao Piao fruit to drive the Wonkai and appeared over the desert island. Looking at the dim lights on the desert island, Noah released a small piece of Emperor Cumulus cloud, covering the Wonkai number, and then fixed it at a height of about 7,000 meters above the desert island. Galdino was very shocked by Noah's ability. He had seen Noah use cards to seal and release things before, and knew that Noah was a card fruit user, but he did not expect that Noah could control the Wonkai number to float high in the sky. Brother Crow, isn't Master Noah a user with card fruit abilities? Could it be that card fruits can also make things float? Galdino asked curiously in a low voice. Crow raised his glasses and asked with a half smile. About Mr. Noah's ability, this is a family secret. Are you sure you want to know more about it? Haha, I'm just curious. Pretend I didn't ask. Galdino smiled sarcastically and waved his hand quickly. Noah, who was standing on the deck with his eyes closed and listening quietly, was now seeing, hearing, and color combined with electromagnetic waves, scanning the desert island below in all directions. There are a total of 392 strong life forms auras and 125 relatively weak life forms auras. There are 13 underground tunnels, an underground harbor, and 3 submarines. In the mountain on the north side of the desert island, there is a cave that can accommodate thousands of people. Many situations on the desert island were almost invisible to Noah's enhanced electromagnetic wave observation, and he even heard a lot of conversations. 10 minutes later, Noah opened his eyes. Brother, have you discovered anything? Ali asked curiously. Noah shook his head. There are more than 100 slaves imprisoned inside, and there is a devil fruit. In addition, the other party also mentioned a poisonous mushroom called paradise mushroom. In Ali's mind, he quickly thought of information about paradise mushrooms. Paradise mushrooms? Isn't this the raw material for making a happy paradise? It's normal. The underground auction of contraband is in line with their sewer rat style. Noah sneered and mocked. Brother, do you want to F***K them? Although Noah's tone was calm, there was a hint of murderous intent. What do you think? Should we keep them for the new year? If we haven't encountered them, we can remain indifferent. Now that we have encountered them, there is no need to show mercy. I'll open the wormhole right away. Don't worry, when those guests arrive, we will entertain them well. Noah has no intention of letting go of the guests of the underground auction. After all, there is no harm if there is no buying and selling. 99.99% of the guys who can come and participate in the underground auction at scum. Galdino was a little worried. Lord Noah, I heard that many underground auctions in South Blue are related to the local nobles of South Blue and the world government. Is it too risky for us to do this? Risk? Why don't you just kill everyone? Noah said a cold joke. Galdino was speechless. In the evening of the 3rd day, with the last sailboat docked at the temporary dock on the desert island, this underground auction is finally about to begin. And on the deck of the Wonkai, above the desert island, Joshua, who had just come from the kingdom of Rum through the wormhole, had already turned on the electromagnetic shielding mode, rendering all phone bugs within a 10-kilometer radius of the desert island incapable of working. Let's go down and entertain these guests. Noah controlled the iron plate and dropped directly from midair with R, Crow, Galdino, and more than 50 family elite members. After a few minutes, boom, the iron plate hit the door of the auction cave. A dozen men in black suits who were responsible for guarding the gate immediately picked up their weapons. Who? Stop talking nonsense. If you come here with bad intentions, shoot immediately. Poof. Crow appeared in front of the gate in an instant. A dozen black suits behind him spurted blood from their throats, then fell to the ground, twitched a few times, and lost their breath. Alii shrugged, then opened the wormhole and took 5 elite members to the underground harbor on the desert island. Noah's body was surrounded by several iron sand chains, and the iron sand chains were inserted into the door in an instant. The door opens automatically under the influence of Piao Piao Fruit's ability. The group of people walked into the auction venue unimpeded. In the bustling venue, no one noticed a group of uninvited guests walking in. Until Noah came to the auction stage in the middle of the venue, Crow cut the auctioneer's throat with a claw. Oh, be bold. Who are these guys? The scene was chaotic and shocked, mixed with screaming and yelling. You scum, can you be quiet? As soon as Noah finished speaking, a terrifying conqueror's domineering aura descended on everyone. As the person in charge of this underground auction, Curacao, who had just arrived at the venue from the monitoring room, instantly felt a terrible pressure on his face. Curaçao's face changed drastically. Conqueror's domineering? The other guests were even more unbearable. They were all so pressed that they could not move. Some of the timid ones even urinated and excreted. Curaçao suppressed the anger and fear in his heart and asked humbly, "My lord, I don't know what our auction has offended you. We are willing to apologize and compensate you. The Don Quixote family are still as rubbish and disgusting as ever." Noah mocked mercilessly. What? Curaçao's expression became even more ugly. However, he knew from Noah's tone that the other party knew the Don Quixote family, so he could only bring out the background. I admire your strength, but behind this auction is not just the Don Quixote family, but also what World Noble needs. I hope you can give us a face. World Noble? Isn't it the Celestial Dragon? Noah gave Crow a look. Not good. Curaçao's heart tightened. However, Crow's silent killing technique was even more terrifying. Curaçao's limbs were cut off in an instant. By the time the pain was transmitted to his brain, Curaçao, who had turned into a human stick, fell to the ground and wailed. Ah! The young master will not let you go, ah! The other guests were so frightened that their faces turned pale, and many people began to panic and run towards several passages. It's a pity that a large amount of iron sand blocked all the entrances and exits in the next second. After discovering that the escape route was blocked, these people turned ugly. Hole. Let me go. Do you know who my dad is? Please let me go. I am willing to give you all my money. Help. Oh, I want to go home. Go to hell. Poof. Crow cut off the hands of a gang leader who was about to shoot. This bloody scene made these nobles, big businessmen, and gang leaders even more frightened. It turns out that you are also afraid and bleeding. I thought you were no longer human. Noah joked with a smile. An old aristocratic man who was extremely frightened knelt down in front of Noah and said, "Sir, please let me go. I was tricked into participating in the auction. I am a good person." The smile at the corner of Noah's mouth became brighter. "Dino, make a wax figure for our good man." Galdino poured out a large amount of wax liquid from his hands, and then wrapped it around the aristocratic old man. The wax liquid quickly solidified, turning him into a wax statue, but leaving his mouth and nose to breathe. However, before the aristocratic old man had time to rejoice, he discovered that the temperature of his body was rising rapidly. 10 minutes later, the aristocratic old man was roasted alive. Chapter 61. Other auction participants, facing the tragic death of the aristocratic old man, felt a chill coming to their hearts. Without any wavering or pity, Noah turned around and walked towards the temporary storage room on the side of the auction table. But Galdino, Crow and others immediately understood what Noah meant. The merciless killing turned the entire auction house into Shura purgatory. Open the storage room door. Several men in black suits who were responsible for guarding inside had fallen into a pool of blood. 5 elite members of the family conduct a preliminary screening and registration of the slaves held here, and then submit these slaves to the inspection department for review. Although there are ordinary people and children among these slaves, there are also extremely vicious villains. He will not allow villains to mix into the family. For example, the reason why Crow, Galdanoa, and others were absorbed is that they are both in the minor evil stage. Crow only lived in his hometown for a while. If Galtino kills pirates as a bounty hunter, that can't be called evil. If it were Crow who became the captain of the Black Cat Pirates and Galdino who joined Baroque Studio, then Noah would never absorb the two of them and would even kill each other directly. This is Noah's principle and bottom line. No matter who becomes a pirate for any reason and thinks he is a pirate, he will not show mercy. After all, being wanted by the world government does not necessarily mean becoming a pirate. You can also become a resistance force or a revolutionary army. This is not a reason to become a pirate. In Noah's view, those who become pirates after being persecuted by the world government are transforming the world government's persecution into their own persecution of ordinary people. A truly strong man must have the courage to wield his sword at the stronger ones. Those pirates who wield their swords at ordinary people are just the scum of the sea. Noah skipped the room where the slaves were kept and came to the room where the auction items were stored. In the first room, there are a large number of guns and ammunition. There are about 2,000 guns and about 2 million rounds of ammunition. They are stored away with cards. In the second room, there are freezers filled with tens of thousands of paradise mushrooms. Paradise mushroom? Although Noah hates drugs, he knows that things have good and bad qualities. This thing can actually be used as a raw material for some special drugs. After he put it away, he planned to take it back to Andy for research. In the third room, there are some antiques and jewelry, which are put away casually. The fourth room, this room seems very empty. There are 6 boxes inside, including a high-quality fighting knife, a box of 50 rounds of sea stone bullets, an animal devil fruit in the form of a red spider, and 3 bottles of a forbidden drug called black blood, medicine, a swordsman's manual called Feilu Swordsmanship, and a treasure map to an island in the Lost Sea. These items are already the best items in this auction. Picking up the reagent bottle, Noah looked at the black blood forbidden drug inside. He had also heard about this stuff. It was produced in the Chatua Kingdom in South Blue. It is a forbidden drug that can make people immune to all poisons in a short period of time. It has side effects. Just taking 1 serving of black blood will consume 5 years of life. Good swords and swordsmen's manuscripts are of little value. Sea stone bullets are of some value. This red spider fruit is pretty good. After all, it is an insect-type animal and has better potential. As for the last treasure map, Noah was a little interested. The Lost Sea is in South Blue, an area close to the Antarctic ice cap. According to local legends in South Blue, the Lost Sea was once a very prosperous area. About 630 years ago, an unknown disaster occurred that caused climate change in this sea area. Very unusual. Although the Lost Sea is not on the previously planned route, it is very close to the planned route. As long as one of the nodes on the route is slightly changed, you can drop by. When Noah sorted out the auction items, Ali also wiped out more than 50 members of the Don Quixote family who were hiding in Hong Kong and destroyed all the phone bugs. On the other side, the members of the Don Quixote family on the island were also killed one by the elite members of the Noah family, and all the phone bugs were also destroyed. Less than an hour. The entire desert island has been deserted. The members of the Don Quixote family and the guests who participated in the auction all died tragically here, and their belongings were looted. North Blue, Borean Islands. Bang! Veins popped out on Doflamingo's forehead, and he smashed the desk with his fist. On the side, Rosanandi showed a hint of sadness under her clown makeup. Torpole, who is responsible for managing the family business, has an extremely gloomy face. Doflamingo gritted his teeth and smiled sinisterly. Ha ha! Check it for me. I want to see who it is that is so bold. Dover, I will definitely find the murderer. Torbol clenched his fists. Rosanandi, who was pretending to be mute, was thinking about how to report this matter to the Warring States period. Compared to the angry Don Quixote family. On the South Blue side, the massacre on the desert island in the White Mountain Kingdom also triggered a strong reaction. The nobles, big businessmen, and gang leaders who participated in the auction in Baishan Kingdom and more than a dozen surrounding kingdoms were all caught up in one fell swoop. This caused a vacuum of power in these places in a short period of time, and those forces that responded quickly organized manpower to seize these vacated territories or businesses. At the same time, Hard Island in South Blue. Marine has arranged the South Blue 201 base here, which is also the residence of Marine South Blue Admiral. However, at this time, Brigadier General Oster, the South Blue Admiral, was respectfully leading a tall, lazy, middle-aged Marine around the base. Lieutenant General Kazan, I wonder how long you will go back to your hometown for vacation this time? Just as Kazan was about to answer, the phone bug in his pocket rang. Brew brew. Kazan waved his hand, then picked up the phone. Brigadier General Oster on the side immediately ordered. Others should be on guard around the area immediately. After saying that, he quickly retreated to the distance, leaving space for Kazan. Kazan answered the phone. Hello, I'm Kazan. Lieutenant General Kazan, this is the staff office of the headquarters. I am Kong Ming. Just now, the South Blue Intelligence Office sent an emergency incident. I will keep the story short. After listening to Kong Ming's explanation, Kazan's expression did not fluctuate at all. What does the Warring States General mean? Your Excellency, the General, hopes that you can drop by the White Mountain Kingdom to investigate, but the mission of capturing Crescent Moon Hunter Katrin Daime remains unchanged. It's really troublesome. Okay, I'll stop by and have a look. Kazan hung up the phone and found another sunny lawn to lie down on. The adjutant who came with Kazan immediately arranged warships and supplies. In fact, similar to high-level Marine combat forces like Kazan, the Marine headquarters usually gives them some of the more difficult tasks in Sea High to handle on the grounds of approving the other party to go back to Sea High for vacation. For example, Garp returns to East China Sea every 3 days, causing the quality of pirates in East China Sea to plummet in the past 2 decades. This time Kazan went back to South Blue for a vacation, and the accompanying task was to capture Katrin Daime. It's not that Katrin Daime is so powerful, but this woman's behavior makes many nobles of the franchise countries very scared. Coupled with the transformation ability of Ninetail's Foxfruit, it is difficult for South Blue's Marine to capture her. But Kazan didn't know that Katrin Daime had become Noah's prisoner and was being imprisoned in the card. Chapter 62. Noah and his party did not pay too much attention to the impact of the desert island incident. The main reason is that Noah has confidence in his own strength. Unless he encounters the 5 elders who go out to encircle and suppress him, he is really not afraid now. Even if you can't beat him, you can use Arse Wormhole to escape, or you can temporarily use Pia Piao Fruit to leave directly from high altitude. Therefore, Noah chose to take Galdino, Crow and others to continue wandering in the White Mountain Kingdom, looking for the sound fruit hidden here. More than a week has passed without realizing it. Noah and his team searched 8 islands in the Baishan Kingdom, and finally found the sound fruit stuck in the crevices of the cliff on the edge of a cliff on the 8th island. After harvesting another devil fruit, Noah no longer had the idea of staying in the White Mountain Kingdom. The Wonkai adjusted its direction and headed towards the Lost Sea further south. However, just as the Wonkai left the Baishan Kingdom, it encountered a marine fleet head-on. Noah, who was drinking tea and reading the newspaper, didn't pay much attention to these marines. After all, he was flying the flag of a merchant ship. Unfortunately, sometimes just because you don't want to cause trouble doesn't mean that trouble won't come to you. Stop the ship immediately and accept marine inspection. A small warship shouted with a loudspeaker not far away. Crow glanced at Noah, who nodded. Then Wonkai stopped. The small warship also anchored nearby. Soon a lieutenant colonel, wearing a marine justice cloak, jumped onto the deck of Wonkai. Crow immediately showed a fake smile. Mr. Lieutenant Colonel, we are good people. This is the qualification certificate and pass for commercial transport ships. The lieutenant colonel took the pass and qualification certificate, glanced at Crow again, and found that the other person's appearance did not appear on the wanted poster, and then nodded. We are just doing a routine inspection. Is it convenient to enter the cabin? Crow nodded. No problem. I'll lead the way. Suddenly a soldier said a few words in the lieutenant colonel's ear, and the lieutenant colonel immediately looked at Noah and Galdino, who were drinking tea not far away. Crow also noticed this scene, and he explained with a smile. Mr. Galdino is hired by our trading company to escort Bounty Hunter Candleman Galdino? The lieutenant colonel did not suspect anything. After all, it is very normal for a transport ship to hire a bounty hunter to protect it. But soon, things suddenly changed. I saw that the sea around the Wonkai was quickly frozen. A streak of ice and snow gathered on the deck. Have you been to that desert island? Noah patted the ice particles on his clothes and glanced at the tall, middle-aged man in front of him. Why do you think so, Lieutenant General? You smell like paradise mushrooms. I see. You Marines also have the ability to sense smells? Noah asked with a smile. Kazan's eyes under his glasses became more solemn. Why don't you go back to Marineland with me and cooperate with us to investigate the Baishan Kingdom desert island incident? If it is a misunderstanding, we are willing to compensate your trading company for its losses. Lieutenant General Kazan is so confident. The next second, A violent and solid conqueror suddenly erupted. Boom. Hundreds of sailors on the small warship fainted instantly. Are you going to resist? Kazan's body temperature dropped rapidly. I want to weigh you, the future Marine General, to see if you are worthy of your name. Gloves of ice. Fist of high fever. Boom. The steel fist, which was hotter than ordinary magma, instantly smashed through Kazan's ice glove. But Kazan did not retreat but advanced, and the ice saber swept towards Noah's neck. Wings of iron sand. High-frequency shock knife. Bang, bang, bang. Even though Kazan maintained his skates at all times, the skates were still torn apart when faced with the iron sand blades that continued to vibrate at high frequencies. Iron Sand Tornado. The card in Noah's sleeve releases dozens of tons of iron sand. At the same time, the body's mimic rubidium magnet mode turns on 100% power, and the blood flows faster, turning the body into a humanoid generator. Countless iron sands were spun up, forming a terrifying iron sand tornado. Kazan immediately formed several ice walls, not because he needed defense, but to protect the ordinary sailors. The group of sailors who followed Kazan from the Marine headquarters, led by Adjutant Kazan, quickly took away the Marine Lieutenant Colonel and a dozen sailors from the Wonkai. Crow and others who were also on the Wonkai quickly left the fighting range of Noah and Kazan to avoid being affected. Of course, Crow, Gardino, R and others are also highly vigilant around them to avoid sneak attacks from other Marines and are always ready to support Noah. The iron sand tornado and the blizzard collided fiercely in midair. Kazan's expression became more solemn. Hockey ball. 5 icicles exploded from the ice sheet, shooting directly at Noah in the iron sand tornado. Noah's body has shown a dazzling red color, furnace meteor. As soon as he flew into the sky, a large piece of easily melted alloy steel sand was quickly electromagnetically heated to a molten state, and then condensed into basketball-sized molten iron balls from high altitude. Hundreds of molten iron balls fell from the sky. It all happened in the blink of an eye. When Kazan saw this scene, he immediately thought of a colleague who he couldn't deal with, and then raised his hand to make a move. Exploding pheasant mouth. Ice birds soared into the sky, and iron balls fell from the sky. Boom, boom, boom. Noah's sight and color instantly sensed the danger. In an instant, he accelerated with a magnetic levitation and avoided the sea tower stone bullets that hit from not far away. Other officers from Marine headquarters? The next moment, the Hailu stone bullet was burned and evaporated by the flames. Lillian appeared not far from the ice field. It was obvious that Alii had secretly pulled several senior combatants from the family over to prevent Noah from being beaten by Marine. Kazan looked at Lillian, who was burning. A person with the ability to burn the fruit? Among the Marines from the headquarters who followed Kazan, a brigadier general with 2 swords rushed out, covered with an armed and domineering long sword, and sent out a fierce slashing wave. Don't think that just because Logia can do whatever you want. Brigadier General Dual Knife stepped on the moonwalk and rushed towards Lillian. Lillian didn't look nervous at all, and her hands erupted with blue flames. I'm not one of those guys who can only make fires to cook. The roar of the fire dragon. The dark blue flame dragon instantly evaporated the incoming slashing wave and rushed towards the double-sword brigadier general. Not good. Kazan's expression changed. Ice Age. 2-thorn spear. The freezing breath caused the fire dragon's temperature to drop a bit, but the terrifying high temperature of 4,990 degrees Celsius still couldn't be suppressed in an instant, and the ice spear that followed was only slightly blocked. But this moment was enough for the brigadier general to react. He quickly used continuous shaving to avoid the impact of the fire dragon. The next moment, the fire dragon evaporated into a large pit with a radius of several hundred meters where he had just stood. At this time, Kazan's mouth showed a trace of blood, because he was hit by Noah's molten iron ball just to save someone. Although he used active elementalization, the high temperature naturally restrains those with frozen fruit abilities, so the blow still caused him some damage. At this time, both sides are wary of each other. On Kazan's side, in addition to himself, there are 2 adjutants of the brigadier general level, plus a dozen Marine headquarters colonels, and a dozen warships. On Noah's side, there are Lillian, R, Galdino, Crow, as well as Joshua and Monet hidden in the sky. Both sites share the same login details, so you don't need to sign up again. Chapter 63. Kazan did not expect that things would develop like this. It's like facing a top pirate group in the New World. Hail. Fire-killing black dragon wave. The hail in the sky was like a heavy rain, hitting Noah's side. Lillian swept out several black fire, dragon-shaped shock waves with one fist, destroying the overwhelming giant hailstones. Kill. Fire. Boom, boom, boom. The cannons of more than a dozen warships fired. Galdino clasped his hands together. Explode the locusts. The surrounding glaciers were transformed into a bunch of gray-white locusts in a short period of time. In addition to having a locust bionic structure, these waxy locusts also had specially modified explosive glycerin components in their bodies. The same overwhelming locusts collided with the dense artillery shells. In an instant, an extremely violent explosion erupted in the middle area of the confrontation between the two sides. The sun without mercy. Lillian instantly transformed into a small blue sun. Although the radius was only about 10 meters, the terrifying high temperature of 4,990 degrees Celsius on its surface, coupled with the pervasive thermal radiation, quickly evaporated the surrounding glaciers. Becomes water vapor. In the thick water vapor, a small blue sun rushed towards the marine warship. Kuzan immediately mobilized the surrounding glaciers. Ice whale. An ice whale collides with the little blue sun. But Kuzan's face was very serious. He sensed Noah's attack, so he could only dodge quickly, and then continued to F***K more ice whales to block Lillian's little blue sun. It's just that Kuzan's two fists are hard to beat with four hands. Gardino's detonating locusts have already penetrated some of the warships. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, enemy attack. Pay attention to defense. When Kuzan saw the sailors being killed and wounded, he suddenly became furious. Ice Age. Super Blizzard. Kuzan, who are you looking down on? Noah's whole body was exuding red light and heat, and his hands punched dozens of times in an instant. Heat explosion punch. The hot iron fist mixed with the color of weapons made Kuzan have to be more vigilant. Boom. A warship in the distance was hit by the little blue sun. In an instant, a large piece of the large warship made of steel and hardwood was gnawed off by the little blue sun, and the gunpowder inside the warship was detonated. Damn it. Kuzan became more and more angry. However, the opponent he faced was Noah, who was in a state of intense heat. Although Kuzan was better armed than Noah and had the upper hand in physical strength, it was a pity that there was not much difference in strength between the two sides. There was no way to win in an instant. Decide the winner. With Kuzan being held back, it would be difficult for him to fully support the other Marines. The members of the Noah family dispatched were Lilith, who was difficult to defend against, and Galdino, who had a stubborn style. Even if there were two brigadiers from Marines headquarters, there was still no way to resist. The two sides fought fiercely for more than an hour. 5 of the 12 warships have been sunk, and Marine has suffered heavy losses. Although Kuzan was not seriously injured, he suffered a loss. And among the two brigadiers, the double-sword brigadier general died tragically under Lillian's little sun and was completely destroyed. Kuzan once again created a large ice wall, looked at the little blue sun that was still raging, and Noah, whose physical strength had not declined significantly, could only approach his adjutant. Gut. Let everyone disperse and use the squad as a combat unit. Don't gather together. Try to focus on dodge. Yes, Lieutenant General Kuzan. Adjutant Gut also knew the danger at this time. Kuzan clenched his fist. Ice blast. Boom, boom, boom. The glacier under Noah's feet suddenly erupted, and a large amount of ice sputtered in all directions. Super Blizzard. Frozen time capsule. Kuzan suddenly emerged from under the glacier and appeared behind Gardino. He instantly froze Gardino and was about to smash the opponent with a fist. But Kuzan suddenly retreated backwards and activated active elementalization at the same time. Boom. Gardino's body suddenly exploded, destroying dozens of meters around it. Clone? Sneak attacks are not a good habit. Lieutenant General Kuzan. Noah's iron sand swept across. The high-frequency vibrating iron sandsword and ice saber collided again. Boom. Another warship was destroyed by Little Sunday. At this moment, Noah suddenly felt a strong sense of crisis. He made a magnetic levitation turn and put a layer of iron sand shield on himself. A laser penetrated the iron sand shield. Under the distortion of the magnetic field shield on Noah's surface and the reflection of the steel mirror, the laser was refracted. Kuzan, you are really in a mess. A middle-aged man with a somewhat wretched face appeared next to Kuzan. Don't be careless. These guys are not simple. Then let me see how extraordinary they are. The 8-foot Magatama. Porcelino condensed countless light bullets with his hands. Boo-hoo-hoo. Boom, boom, boom. The light bullets shot out at extremely high speeds were as dense as raindrops. Thunder. Chilin. A thunder unicorn full of destructive aura descended from the sky, instantly annihilating a large swath of light bullets and pressed towards Porcelino. Porcelino looked surprised, but quickly counterattacked. How terrible! Heaven is shining. A supergiant burst of light shot toward the Thunder Kirin. Point to point, the collision of thunder and lightning made the world light up. A terrifying explosion occurred between the collisions. A mushroom cloud rose from the glacier. A large crater with a radius of about 1 kilometer was instantly created. The accompanying shockwave was like a super hurricane. Kazan quickly pulled up a large glacier to protect the Marines behind. The two sides also distanced themselves at this time. After a few minutes, the water vapor slowly dispersed. Kazan, Porcelino, and Brigadier General Gut looked at the enemy in the distance, and their presence had been sensed by their sight. Noah, Lillian, Galdino, and Joshua also looked at Marine across from them. For a while, neither party took action. It's really scary. Steel fruit, burning fruit, wax fruit, and thunder fruit. Porcelino seemed to be joking, but in fact he was really serious at this time. Kazan's face was also very solemn. He did not expect that there was a Logia hiding around him. If the other party attacked him just now, it might cause him big trouble. After Noah saw Porcelino appearing, he also gave up the idea of killing Kazan here. After all, Kazan at this time has the strength of a general. It is too difficult to kill a Logia general. Originally, he planned to let Joshua, who was lurking in secret, give Kazan a fatal blow at the critical moment, but it was a pity that Porcelino arrived too quickly. Withdraw. As soon as he finished speaking, a large piece of water vapor enveloped Noah and others. Ar's wormhole opened, and everyone disappeared on the glacier instantly. Huh, gone? Porcelino raised his eyebrows. Kazan's sight color also sensed the enemy's disappearance. However, the two of them did not act rashly, but continued to guard their surroundings. After more than 10 minutes, the two of them relaxed a little after finding that there was no more abnormality. Kazan turned his head and ordered, "Gut, start rescue immediately."
Yes.
Gut took a moonwalk and flew to the location of other Marines. Porcelino took off his glasses, wiped the water vapor on them, and asked in a low voice, "Who are these guys?" "I don't know. It was during the investigation of the massacre on the desert island in the Baishan Kingdom that I discovered that they might be the murderers, so I fought with them." At this time, Kazan suddenly felt a headache as to how to deal with the aftermath. Chapter 64. The Grand Line, Paradise. Marine's main headquarters is Malinfando. Even Cyborg Kong, who was in a semi-retired state, was shocked by the news from South Blue. Inside the Fleet Admiral office, in addition to Gongu Kong, it is rare for other Marine senior executives at the headquarters to gather together, including Marine Grand Instructor Black Arm Zifa, Marine Hero Tekken Garp, Grand Staff Crane, Lieutenant General Flying Squirrel, Lieutenant General Guion, and others. While Sakaski is in the North Blue, Sengoku is stationed at the G1 base of the New World, and Kaji is in the West Blue to wipe out the pirates. As the Chief Staff Officer, he also takes care of the work of the Marine Intelligence Department, so it is up to her to make a comprehensive report on this matter. According to Kazan's report, there are currently 6 confirmed enemies. Colonel Brandnew, who belonged to the Intelligence Department, immediately projected the picture on the curtain on one side. The young man who is suspected to be the leader is a user with the Iron Fruit ability. He possesses 3 colors of domineering, and his physical and sword skills are also strong. His fruit ability is extremely powerful. Photos of Noah in disguise appeared on the curtain, as well as photos of many moves. The Flying Squirrel was very surprised. Wasn't the last ability user of the Iron Fruit just annihilated by Sakaski a few years ago? It's only been a few years since this guy got the fruit, right? He can actually develop it to this extent. The Marine executives present, seeing the introduction of Noah's row of ability moves, couldn't help but sigh that Noah's depth of development of the Steel Fruit has reached a new peak among previous Steel Fruit users. High heat, mirror, magnetic field, current, iron sand control. One fruit can be used as several. The second target, a blonde girl, is estimated to be under 18 years old. She is a user with the ability to burn the Logia fruit. She has a weapon color and a knowledge color. She has no performance in physical swordsmanship for the time being. Her ability development is also very powerful. Brigadier Madbull was attracted by her. Killed. On the curtain, Lillian wearing half a mask appeared, as well as the little blue sun. Burning fruit? Garp looked at the curtain carefully. The last burning fruit user was punched into the sea by his fist, but it was as if he was meeting the burning fruit for the first time. Are the flames of the burning fruit blue? Zifa tried hard to recall the information in Marine's internal confidential archives and found that the flames of all burning fruit users were orange-red. This was the first time that such blue flames were present. Appear. The flying squirrel expressed his guess. Could it be that the devil fruit ability has awakened? Awakening? It's indeed possible. Zifa could only temporarily attribute this situation to the awakening of the fruit's ability. Then he said, the third target, South Blue Bounty Hunter Gardino, is also the only target whose identity has been confirmed so far. He has the wax fruit ability. He has the power of knowledge and domineering, but the armed domineering has not been reflected, and his fruit ability has not been reflected. Developed very powerfully. On the curtain, a photo of Gardino and some introductions to his moves appeared. The fourth target is a young black-haired man with the Logia Thunder fruit ability. He had a fight with Porcellino, and Porcellino described him as having the ability to destroy islands. On the curtain, it was replaced by Joshua wearing a cat mask, and there were photos of the Thunder Unicorn and the Shining Heaven colliding. Another Logia? Still such a powerful Logia. There was a hint of fear in Guillaume's beautiful eyes. The fifth target is a young man with glasses pretending to be a merchant ship supervisor. He has no performance of fruit abilities. He has Grandmaster arms and wisdom. He can use a silent physical technique, and his weapons are a pair of claw blades. The curtain then changed to a photo of Crow, also in disguise. The sixth target is a young man with green hair who doesn't have much presence. He is suspected to be a user with some kind of space-type devil fruit ability. He is the one who helped other targets retreat. The photo on the curtain changed to Ali wearing a black mask. Cyborg Kong rubbed his temples. What do you think we should do with this force? Crane was not moved by the two Logia and several powerful Paramecia. After all, she had seen the 3 royal groups in New World, as well as the former Rocks Pirates and Roger Pirates. She put down the document in her hand. Fleet Admiral, judging from the behavior of this group of people, I don't think they are pirates who are looking for treasure, but it is precisely because of this that I think they are a greater threat. Yeah. Sora nodded. In Sora's eyes, those pirates who burned, killed, and looted on the sea were nothing more than a plague of scabies and could not threaten the world government at all. He continued to analyze. Judging from the strength shown by the other party, this group of people cannot be an organization developed from all over the world, but a secret organization developed from the Great Line. Its purpose is the direction we need to focus on next. Could it be the Revolutionary Army? Flying Squirrel asked in a low voice. Suddenly the atmosphere in the office became extremely awkward. Of course, he knew the reason for such embarrassment, but she knew there was no need to reveal the matter, so she continued to analyze. It is unlikely that these people are revolutionary troops, because people with conquerors will not give in to others easily. I don't think Long has the strength to overwhelm this group of people. Ha ha ha, indeed. The unfilial son's strength cannot suppress these people. Garp laughed, then picked up a bag of senbei and ate it. He and Kong didn't say anything, but Zifa frowned. But he also didn't speak. It was difficult for everyone present to comment on the dragon matter. I propose to arrest this group of people in the name of a terrorist organization. Regarding his proposal, Kong thought for a while and nodded. Let's do it. He continued to suggest, in addition to the wanted warrant, we should strengthen the intelligence investigation of this organization. It cannot be like this time. If Porcellino hadn't arrived in time, Kazan and others would have been in trouble. I will discuss it with Lord Five Elders and ask CP to cooperate with us in investigating this organization. Kong Jiang took over the task of communicating with Five Elders. In addition, Porcellino, who is the most mobile, cannot continue to stay alone in the Sabaody Islands. A lieutenant general must be sent to replace him in the Sabaody Islands, so that we can dispatch Porcellino to support others at any time. Kong nodded. Well, Porcellino should indeed serve as the core force of the General Reserve Team to avoid the situation of being unable to provide support in time. Soon the Marine Headquarters discussion on Noah and his group was completed. The relevant wanted warrants were also worked overtime by the Marine Headquarters. Early the next morning, more than a dozen newspapers under the world government, as well as the well-informed World Economic and Social News Agency, reported the wanted order and the content of the incident after the magic change. Suddenly the whole world was in an uproar. Naturally, he would not be so kind as to help Noah and his gang gain fame, but would instead deliberately flatter them. The strength of Noah and his gang is described as being comparable to the Sea Emperor of the New World, as if Noah and his gang can immediately become the fourth Sea Emperor as long as they are willing to enter the New World. This is obviously a deliberate attempt to sow discord. so that the big pirates in the New World will focus on Noah and his gang, hoping to use this opportunity to expose more detailed information about Noah and his gang during their fight with other big pirates. And Morgans, the Birdman, even made a sensational headline directly on the news. Headlines. Chapter 65. Upside Down Mountain Canal Exit. Twin Gap Lighthouse. The red-haired Shanks, who had just recovered from a serious illness, was chatting and laughing with Kakaros. Suddenly, a little girl with white hair and red hair ran in with a newspaper and shouted breathlessly, "Shanks, today's newspaper said that a new emperor of the sea was born." What? Beckman took the lead and took the newspaper. After reading the World Economic News, Beckman frowned. Shanks took a sip of wine and asked half-jokingly, "Beckman, has the Fourth Sea Emperor really appeared?" "No, but this matter is a bit complicated. Take a look at it yourself." Beckman handed the newspaper to Shanks. Shanks looked at it for a while, and his face became serious. What a powerful force! The other members of the red-haired pirate group also looked at newspapers and wanted posters. Iron Man, with a bounty of 2,038.27 million Baileys, a user with the Iron Fruit ability, Grandmaster 3-color domineering and swordsmanship, leader of the Hidden Man organization, planned the White Mountain Kingdom Desert Island Massacre, and massacred Marine soldiers, a heinous crime, regardless of life or death. The Blue Flame Witch, with a bounty of 1.81432 million Baileys, a user with the ability to burn the burning fruit, a Grandmaster with 2-color domineering, and a member of the Hidden One organization. She participated in the massacre and killed Brigadier Marine. It is a heinous crime, regardless of life or death. Candleman Gardino, with a bounty of 554.1 million Baileys, a user with Wax Fruit ability, able to use the Hockey of Wisdom and Information, a former South Blue bounty hunter, a member of the Hidden One organization, participated in the massacre, killing a large number of Marine soldiers, have committed extremely heinous crimes, regardless of life or death. Lei Lin, with a bounty of 1.59825 million Baileys, a user with the Thunder Fruit ability, possessing the ability to destroy an island with one strike, a member of the Hidden Organization, and participated in the massacre. He is guilty of a heinous crime, regardless of life or death. A man with cat claw glasses, with a bounty of 336.98 million Baileys, Grandmaster of Domineering and Physical Skills, using a special cat claw blade, a member of the Hidden Organization, and participated in the massacre. He committed a heinous crime, regardless of life or death. Mysterious man with green hair and mask, with a bounty of 1,011,040,000 Baileys. He is suspected of having space-like devil fruit abilities. He can transfer others on a large scale. He is a member of the Hidden Man organization and participated in the massacre. He is guilty of the most heinous crimes, regardless of life or death. 2 Logia? This is indeed powerful. Jesus sighed while fiddling with the sniper rifle. Beckman took a puff of his cigar. Huh? The key is that the opponent was able to kill a Marine headquarters brigadier in front of Akiji Kazan. This shows that Akiji was suppressed by the opponent at that time. Moreover, Kizaru was added later, but there was still no way to take down the opponent and let the opponent retreat unscathed. Obviously, 2 would-be generals couldn't take down this organization. Shank's eyes were deep, and he didn't know what he was thinking about. Kakaros, who was on the side, smiled and joked, "Are you thinking too much? The people who really have a headache now should be Marine and world government. Ha ha ha. You are indeed Mr. Ship's doctor." Shanks picked up a glass of wine and drank it in one gulp. Kakaros glared at Shanks angrily. "You're so embarrassed. You're lucky this time. That sick fruit ability user didn't develop the fruit well. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to survive the Twin Gorges. Hurry up and find a professional, the ship's doctor. Give him the medical book I gave you, by the way. The old man has no way of sailing with you." "Ha ha ha. Thank you very much, Mr. Ship Doctor." Shanks thanked him with a smile. Grand Line, New World. In a calm sea, several large whale-shaped sailing ships were sailing slowly. The largest sailing ship among them had the letters Moby Dick painted on it. "Dad, the New World may be about to usher in the Fourth Sea Emperor." Josie, the captain of the 3rd Division, shouted to Whitebeard with a newspaper. At this time, Edward Newgate, whose hair had not completely turned gray and whose white beard had not yet completely turned gray, and who did not have the diaphragm needles that would have been there for more than 10 years, glanced at the newspaper. "Ha ha ha, are world government and Marine planning to kill someone with a borrowed knife again? What a boring trick." Captain Bermank of the 6th Division laughed. "Whatever, I think the Hidden Man organization is probably not that big of a deal. If the other party wants to come to New World, we The whitebeard pirates are not afraid of them. That's right. Dad is the strongest in the world. How can a group of guys who don't even dare to show their true colors compare with our whitebeard pirates? Ha ha ha. With Dad here, there is nothing to be afraid of. Marshall Teach, who was hiding himself, also laughed. But there was really no fluctuation in his heart. As long as the person with the ability of the dark fruit does not appear, he would just don't care. Also in New World. The country of Wano is located in the Central Sea area of the New World. In Onigashima, the base camp of the Beast Pirates, the handsome face under the steel mask of Yin Banjin, the general manager, also became a little serious after hearing the report from overseas intelligence personnel. Suddenly, in the small square outside, there was another fierce collision and the scream of a girl. Master Kaido has started again, and Master Yamato is really... I'd better report this matter to Master Kaido at night. Jin shook his head helplessly. Although Noah and his gang showed great strength, they were not the animal-type ability users that Kaido liked after all. In addition, the other party did not clearly want to enter the New World, so naturally Jin would not be too anxious to report. New World, Totland Sea. Deep inside the dessert castle on Cake Island, the fat woman who was devouring desserts crazily became a little unhappy when she saw her eldest son walking in. Mom? Paraspero, you should know the consequences of disturbing me from eating desserts, right? Charlotte Paraspero, who was sweating heavily on her forehead, quickly said briefly, Mom, the main reason why I disturb your meal is because a big event happened at sea. Both Marine and Morgans are building momentum for the Fourth Sea Emperor. Well, the Fourth Sea Emperor? Which be *********** D was pushed out. Charlotte Linlin still had some IQ when she wasn't going crazy. Paraspero quickly briefly explained the situation. It's a force called the Hidden Ones. I heard that the other party could fight against Akiji Kizaru. They also killed a brigadier general of the Marine headquarters and finally escaped unscathed. Charlotte Linlin was a little confused. Oh, why haven't I heard about this organization's information? Paraspero explained quickly. I just communicated with the Underground Kings, including the Morgans, and they all said they had never heard of this organization. However, the strength of this organization is indeed very powerful. Among the 6 currently known members, they include the 2 Logias, the Thunder Fruit user and the Burning Fruit user, as well as the very powerful Steel Fruit user, Waxu. Among the Fruit ability users, there is also a suspected Space-type ability user. When Charlotte Linlin heard about the 2 Logia ability users, her eyes immediately gleamed. Well, immediately send someone to investigate this organization. I want to know all the information about this organization. As soon as Paraspero heard his mother's instructions, he knew what the other party was thinking, and it was obvious that he wanted to make some kind of marriage or something. But this time, Paraspero was not optimistic about his mother's idea. After all, the organization was too powerful and marriage was unlikely. Chapter 66. The conflict between Noah's gang and Marine, and the subsequent issuance of the Wanted Order, not only shocked the great pirates in the New World, but also surprised the 5 elders of Marijoa. Marijoa. Among powers, Saint Satan's eyes were extremely stern. This organization is most likely the force that took away the civilians of Free Fans. Saint Pitt frowned. A space-type devil fruit user? The gate fruit is in CP9. The whereabouts of the teleportation fruit are unknown, so it's hard to determine. It doesn't matter. The key is this girl. Saint Wucheli held a photo, which showed Lillian in the form of a small blue sun. Saint Nashalang stroked the long sword in his hand. Can the burning fruit also turn into the sun? Is the search for that fruit still fruitless? CP is still searching secretly, but you should know that that fruit has self-awareness. Saint Satan was a little helpless. A trace of solemnity flashed in the eyes of Saint Nazho Lang. The fruit and the surgical fruit must be found as soon as possible. The time is almost there, and we have to speed up the plan. Saint Wucheli stroked his beard. The Shichibukai project has only confirmed Crocodile and Moria. CP is in contact with Marine Hunter Mihawk and Terrorist Weapon Dahlia. There are currently no suitable candidates for the other candidates. Where's Achiku? Nazho Langsheng raised his eyebrows. He refused. Saint Wucheli explained casually. Saint reminded. Let CP choose the right one as soon as possible. The Shichibukai plan is of great importance, but I need to implement a plan in the near future. If it succeeds, I might be able to get a useful Shichibukai. That escaped slave from the Valley of Gods? What do you think of that Shashao fruit girl? Let CP investigate with all its strength. Once traces of it are discovered, I will personally take CP0 to take action. Although it is unlikely that it will become the new sun, I would rather kill the wrong one than let go of a potential threat. Agree. Agree. And in the small garden deep among the flowers, a dancing white butterfly is slowly landing on a finger. On the stone platform nearby, there are several photos, which are photos of Lillian. At the same time, the Grand Line, the kingdom of Kamabaka in paradise. The temporary headquarters of the Revolutionary Army hidden here also received today's newspaper. Dragon. Something big happened. Ivankov slipped in with a strange dance. Long, who was worrying about the supply and weapons channels, put down the pen in his hand. Ivan, what happened? Look. After taking the newspaper, Long glanced at it. His pupils suddenly shrank, and then he stared at the newspaper and the reward notices intently. After a while, he sighed. What a powerful force. It can basically be compared with the Sea Emperor of New World. Ivankov suggested. Long, why don't we get in touch with this force? Judging from what the other party has done, it should not be a terrorist organization with many evil deeds. Long thought for a moment. Well, at the desert island auction in the White Mountain Kingdom of South Blue, some underground forces were involved. As for the massacre of Marine, it was probably a conflict between the two parties. I agree to contact, but we cannot be exposed until we know the other party's true situation. Then let the Sea High branch pay attention. If they find people from the hidden organization, let them contact them secretly. The attention of all forces in the sea. It did not affect the actions of Noah and his party. After all, the Noah family is too mobile. Apostle Shiki's Piao Piao fruit and Arsehole fruit can support large-scale and rapid transfers. Joshua's Thunder fruit, Lillian's Burning fruit, Monet's Snow fruit, and Lilith's Monarch butterfly fruit all have the ability to fly long distances. In addition, the Arc 001 experimental spacecraft has just been built. This spacecraft, which relies on graphene batteries and wind turbines as its core power, has completed preliminary testing. As long as the Noah family intends to keep it secret, it will be difficult for other forces to pinpoint the whereabouts of the Noah family and infiltrate it. After all, in the face of Mary's emotions, any spy is like an open flame. After breaking away from the battle with Akiji Kizaru, Noah and his party did not set off immediately, but returned to the empty island. Inside the governor's palace on Lion Island, Noah and others summarized the situation of this battle. He took a sip of lemonade and said, "This battle is just an appetizer. The next time we meet someone from Marine or World Government, it probably won't be so easy. I feel that my knowledge is not strong enough. In addition, I need to awaken my armed skills as soon as possible." Galdino first said his shortcomings. In this battle, although he killed a lot of sailors, he also almost killed by Kazan. If it hadn't been for the critical moment when Joshua, who was hiding high in the sky, used brainwave communication to remind him and asked him to use a candle stand-in to hide himself, he would have been shattered to pieces by now. Lillian also talked about her shortcomings. My physical strength is still insufficient. After just using the sun mode for more than 2 hours, my physical strength dropped to less than half. Next, I will strengthen my physical exercise. For Lillian, who is still young, physical strength is indeed the shortcoming that restricts her strength. This is one of the reasons why Noah quickly chose to retreat after seeing Porcelino appear. After all, General Marine can fight without rest for 10 days and 10 nights. In a short period of time, even Noah, who has all the means, and other members of the family, can only temporarily suppress Kazan and Porcelino, but there is no way to kill them within a few hours. Once time passes, reinforcements from the Marine and World Government will continue to arrive. By then, the physical strength of Lillian, Galdino, Crow and others will definitely drop significantly, and the situation will become extremely unfavorable to Noah's side. Noah made a prompt decision and immediately asked Ali to lead everyone to retreat. Noah was not frustrated by this result, because everyone in the Noah family is still very young at this time, and there is still huge potential that can be tapped. Kazan, Porcelino, and others are already at their peak. In the future, unless they can awaken Conqueror's Haki or achieve the Fruit's full awakening, their strength will not improve significantly. At the same time, this collision also calmed down the arrogance of family members. Everyone who has seen the world's top combat power has obviously realized the gap between the two sides. The key lies in physical fitness and physical endurance. As long as the physical fitness and physical endurance are improved, the Noah family will give birth to at least 4 or 5 general-level combat capabilities. After resting and adjusting on the empty island for more than a month, Noah and his team set sail again. However, Galdino has realized his shortcomings, so he did not choose to follow the boat, but chose to go to the training camp in Rum Kingdom for a year. Noah took Crow, R and others, redisguised themselves, jumped through the wormhole, and once again appeared in the sea near the White Mountain Kingdom. But this time, the ship they were driving was the Nautilus, and they directly chose the submarine mode. The destination points directly to the Lost Sea in the south of South Blue. Chapter 67. October 3rd, 1506 in the Hyuan calendar. Half a month has passed since Noah and his team set sail again. During this period, they passed 8 islands. And today, they finally arrived at the edge of the Lost Sea. Noah, wearing a cowboy hat, stood on the bow of the ship, looking at the gloomy sea in the distance. Brother, the situation in this sea area is a bit strange. Lilith, who came from the Kingdom of Rum specifically for support, was on Noah's side at this time, and her face was very serious. And Noah's knowledge also sensed the strangeness of this sea area. There were storms and tornadoes without warning, coupled with the huge hail that fell from time to time. This sea area was not like South Blue, but like the Grand Line. Are you sure? Lilith thought for a while. If you activate the magnetic field shield and add my monitoring, you should be able to sail. Then give it a try. If there is really no other way, then we can only let Alii open the wormhole and leave. Lilith nodded, and then took the treasure map she had obtained before, plus the nautical chart information obtained from surrounding countries, and concentrated on monitoring the weather changes within dozens of kilometers around her. The Nautilus quickly sailed toward the depths of the Lost Sea. Hail ahead, left full chord 37 degrees. In the sea directly ahead about 3 kilometers away from the Nautilus, a large hailstone with a diameter of 5 to 6 meters fell from the dark clouds. No, defend with all your strength and charge to the right. Noah's body has entered rubidium magnet mode, and a super strong defensive magnetic field immediately enveloped the Nautilus. The next moment, more than a dozen waterspouts surrounded him from all directions. Get out of my way. Noah controlled the magnetism and condensed the iron sand into a spear. Electromagnetic gun. Continuous fire. More than a dozen electromagnetic cannons blasted towards the sea surface at the bottom of the waterspout. Boom, boom, boom. The fierce impact made the sea surface more chaotic, but it also disrupted the movement trajectory of the waterspout. The Nautilus took the opportunity to pass through the encirclement. At this time, 4 days had passed since they entered the Lost Sea. During these 4 days, situations like the one just now occurred almost every few hours. In order to exercise his body, Noah did not use the Piao Piao fruit to pull the Nautilus to the high-altitude safety zone, but continued to take everyone to ride the wind and waves. Noah did not maintain the magnetic field shield at all times, but asked everyone to take turns to fight against this weird weather. However, after 4 days and 4 nights of rough seas, everyone was somewhat exhausted, and even Noah felt a little tired. Seeing that the Nautilus had safely avoided the waterspout, Noah turned his head and asked, Lilith, how far is it from the destination? It's about 53 kilometers northwest of the sea. If everything goes well, we will arrive at the target island in 5 hours. 5 hours? Then go full speed ahead. The Nautilus continued to move forward against the wind and waves. Obviously, the journey here was not smooth, so it took them more than 3 hours longer than expected to reach their destination. After docking, Noah put the Nautilus away. The scene that came into view at this time was a bit unexpectedly calm. The island is covered with vines, weeds, and moss. Except for the oysters, barnacles, mussels, and seaweed attached to the rocks on the coast, there are no traces of large animals around the coast. Except for the occasional small crab sneaking around in the cracks of the rocks, they are rarely seen. Other living creatures. After passing through the rugged rocky area on the coast, Noah and his party came to a low hill. There are ruins of buildings. Crow cut through a large vine and saw the outer outlines of many buildings. Following the footsteps of everyone, they went deeper into the ruins of this ancient city. There are ruins covered with moss and vines everywhere. Very clean. Crow opened a collapsed rock wall again and found that there was no gold, silver, or jewelry inside. Noah has already seen some possible truths. As expected, if it weren't for a natural disaster that destroyed this place, the treasures inside would naturally not be left behind. 2 hours later, they came to the ruins of a suspected temple. Noah looked at a mural about sacrifice, with a hint of surprise on his face. It turned out to be a Nika dance. Is this a place of sacrifice for the sun god? Crow cleaned the surrounding stone walls and found more murals. After reading these murals, Noah shook his head. It seems that this is indeed the place of worship for Nika. No wonder it was destroyed. This is the fate of losers. Brother, how to solve the riddle on this treasure map? Lilith was confused while holding the treasure map. Noah read the riddle. Where the sun rises at sunset, colorful lights shine and the ancient well roars. Actually, this riddle is very simple. The place where the sun rises represents the location, the time of sunset represents the evening of the day, and the colored light reflects the season when the aurora appears. The so-called treasure should be inside the ancient well. The season when the aurora appears in the Lost Sea is April, May or August and September every year. During these two periods, the sun just rises from the northeast, which means that the ancient well is in the northeast of the island. Soon the group started exploring the place of worship in the northeast direction. However, no building remains were found along the way, and naturally there were no man-made wells or the like. Noah used electromagnetic waves and visual perception, but still found no trace of the ancient well. Until everyone reached the coast, they still found nothing. Crow raised his glasses. Does that ancient well only appear every evening? Not necessarily. Noah thought again. He searched according to the prompts of the riddle, but why couldn't he find the ancient well? Looking at the rough waves not far away, Noah suddenly had an idea. So that's it. Did the rise in sea level cause the ancient well to be submerged by seawater? He once again concentrated on seeing, hearing, color, and electromagnetic wave induction to detect the nearby seabed. A few minutes later, Noah opened his eyes. Found it. It's on the seabed 2 kilometers away. It's actually on the bottom of the sea. It seems that the impact of rising sea levels is real. Crow didn't expect that this treasure map from hundreds of years ago would indirectly prove the fact of rising sea levels. Noah touched the sea with his hands. Soon the surrounding sea separated to both sides, exposing the seabed. The depth of this sea area was only about 30 or 40 meters. As the seawater is divided, the ruins hidden under the sea are finally exposed. The remains of a building similar to a lighthouse. The upper part of the tower has been completely broken, leaving only the base part, and the ancient well is inside the base. Looking through the remains of those buildings, there is a large ancient well with a spiral stone staircase on the wall of the ancient well. Noah and his party went down the stone stairs. The seawater inside has been drained by the piao fruit, and there are still many remaining octopuses, eels, and lobsters in the gaps in the surrounding rocks. It wasn't until I walked down more than 100 meters that I came to the bottom filled with mud. After using the piao fruit to remove the mud, a tunnel was exposed at the bottom. After passing through the tunnel, there is a natural cave at the end. However, there are many traces of man-made modifications in this natural cave, as well as a destroyed tunnel. Judging from its design, this should be a dive port. Chapter 68. The entire abandoned Chianggang cave has an area of about 20,000 square meters and a height of about 10 meters. There are also more than a dozen small caves dug into the cave rock walls. Noah removed the mud and stones from the ground. There is a rotten and rusty submarine parked on the dock. Although he did not report any expectations for the treasure, Noah did not dissipate everyone's enthusiasm. Let's search separately to see what treasures are here. Soon everyone separated and carefully searched the dozen small caves, abandoned submarines, and areas covered by stones. Crow removed the rotten wooden door. Wearing a portable respirator and an oxygen bottle, we entered the small cave in front of us. Under the illumination of the flashlight, we saw 2 rows of bookshelves inside the cave. The books on the bookshelves were already in a state of piles. Fortunately, some books were made of special sea animal skins that could withstand the corrosion of seawater. Crow picked up one of them and flipped through a few pages. Another unknown ancient text. Judging from the image, it should be a book introducing plants. They picked out books made of special sea animal skins, more than 200 in total, and also found several nautical charts made of special sea animal skins on the desk inside. The chart above is what the Lost Sea looked like hundreds of years ago. Inside another small cave, Lilith discovered that there were a large number of ancient characters carved on the rock wall, but part of the content was also carved in universal language, so she could understand this part of the content. In March 866 of the Hainan calendar, the Kingdom of Atlan encountered a surprise attack by the world government, and the kingdom's first fleet was completely wiped out. In May, the world government launched a buster call against the kingdom, and the kingdom's army retreated steadily. In August, Atlan Island, where the capital of the kingdom is located, was destroyed by light falling from the sky. In September, the kingdom guardian Polk, who was lured away by the world government's conspiracy, finally returned to the devastated kingdom, led the remnants of the kingdom's army to destroy 17 marine warships, and killed Marine General Rubio. In October, the 5 elders of the world government suddenly arrived. It was difficult for the Guardians to fight against the five elders. The remnants of the kingdom's army were completely lost, and the citizens were almost slaughtered by the celestial dragons. The Guardians burned themselves with the power of the hurricane fruit in the awakened state. Lives, destroying the ships in the waters of Atlan. In November, I took my 6 surviving subordinates back to my hometown of Crab Island, which was destroyed by the celestial dragons, and engraved the historical text here. Lilith looked at the content of that part of the ancient text. Is this one of the historical texts? She told Noah about the situation, and Noah asked someone to make rubbings of the historical text inside. There are not many things in other small caves. The only valuable thing is a set of special techniques carved by the survivor. This special set of technology is called Atlan Deep-Sea Diving Technology, which includes sharkskin swimsuit technology, artificial gill technology, deep-sea submersible medicine technology, and Poseidon-like breath simulation technology. Noah evaluated this technology. This technology is indeed of great value to races other than fishmen. Sharkskin swimsuit technology is nothing, but artificial gills, deep-sea diving, and Poseidon-like breath simulators are very high-tech and have a wide range of uses. Gardino's wax gills and Ajai's graphite gills are both creations of specific fruit abilities. They are most suitable for their own use only, and others can only use them for a short period of time. The artificial fish gills of the Kingdom of Atlan are industrialized products that can be popularized on a large scale. Similarly, deep-sea occult blood medicine is an indispensable consumable for terrestrial creatures swimming in the deep sea. If you do not use deep-sea occult blood medicine, not only will the diving depth be limited, but you will also easily get diving sickness, which may even be life-threatening. The last technology in this set of technologies, Poseidon-like breath simulator technology, provides a relatively safe guarantee for divers. After all, the most dangerous situations when swimming in the sea are often large sea beasts and Poseidons. Especially in the Grand Line, even ordinary marine lieutenant generals would shy away from those terrifying large Poseidons. However, Noah also discovered the shortcomings of this Poseidon-like breath simulator. The sea breath simulator invented by Vegapunk is equivalent to making Poseidon invisible to itself. The Poseidon-class breath simulator is equivalent to simulating yourself into the Poseidon class. The problem is that the Poseidon class is also intelligent, and they can communicate and fight with each other. In other words, if you use a Poseidon-type breath simulator, it may be regarded as a competitor invading the territory by other Poseidon types. This thing can only be used in the 4 seas and is used to drive away sea beasts. Once it enters the Grand Line, it must be basically deactivated. Otherwise, it may attract the surrounding Poseidon types. Noah ordered his accompanying subordinates to make rubbings of these technical data. After finding no other secret treasures, the group did not leave Crab Island immediately, because he felt that the location of the Lost Sea was good. A user with the ability to awaken the hurricane fruit burned his life and formed a large-scale stormy sea area, turning this sea area into a desperate situation. Now, except for ships that accidentally enter the Lost Sea, almost no one will take the initiative to enter this sea area. The radius of the Lost Sea is about 500 kilometers. According to Noah's observation, there are 13 islands in it. As long as these islands are modified, the Lost Sea can serve as the Noah family's secret base in South Blue. Especially as Luo heals more and more Freyfanth survivors, Circassus Island has almost reached the upper limit of its population, and the Emperor Cumulus on Sky Island is not growing that fast, and there is no way to accommodate several people at once. Thousands of people. After discovering the special environment of the Lost Sea, Noah thought it was very suitable as a new development point. There are storms as a natural barrier, and there are more than a dozen islands in it. Among these islands, the largest one has a radius of about 11 kilometers. Noah quickly took action and moved all these islands to the central area of the Lost Sea. This area was also similar to the eye of a storm and appeared calm. Through sensory perception, Noah knew that this so-called Eye of the Storm area was actually the area where Atlan Island, the capital of the Kingdom of Atlan, was located. At this time, there was a large bottomless hole on the seabed of this sea area. Apparently, this was the result of Uranus's blow. Noah selected an area with relatively shallow water depth and thick rock formations in the sea near the large cave on the seabed, and placed 13 islands in this area. Then Noah went to the nearby sea and dug out a lot of rocks and sand to fill the bottom of these islands and strengthen the stability of their island bases. Finally, the Storm Islands, composed of 5 large islands, was formed. This marked the official establishment of the viceroyalty of the Storm Islands. Ar opened the wormhole, transferred a large number of young men from West Cassis Island, and began to build the Storm Islands. Chapter 68. The entire abandoned Chiangang cave has an area of about 20,000 square meters and a height of about 10 meters. There are also more than a dozen small caves dug into the cave rock walls. Noah removed the mud and stones from the ground. There is a rotten and rusty submarine parked on the dock. Although he did not report any expectations for the treasure, Noah did not dissipate everyone's enthusiasm. Let's search separately to see what treasures are here. Soon everyone separated and carefully searched the dozen small caves, abandoned submarines, and areas covered by stones. Crow removed the rotten wooden door. Wearing a portable respirator and an oxygen bottle, we entered the small cave in front of us. Under the illumination of the flashlight, we saw 2 rows of bookshelves inside the cave. The books on the bookshelves were already in a state of piles. Fortunately, some books were made of special sea animal skins that could withstand the corrosion of seawater. Crow picked up one of them and flipped through a few pages. Another unknown ancient text. Judging from the image, it should be a book introducing plants. They picked out books made of special sea animal skins, more than 200 in total, and also found several nautical charts made of special sea animal skins on the desk inside. The chart above is what the lost sea looked like hundreds of years ago. Inside another small cave, Lilith discovered that there were a large number of ancient characters carved on the rock wall, but part of the content was also carved in universal language, so she could understand this part of the content. In March 866 of the Hainan calendar, the Kingdom of Atlan encountered a surprise attack by the world government, and the kingdom's first fleet was completely wiped out. In May, the world government launched a buster call against the kingdom, and the kingdom's army retreated steadily. In August, Atlan Island, where the capital of the kingdom is located, was destroyed by light falling from the sky. In September, the kingdom guardian Polk, who was lured away by the world government's conspiracy, finally returned to the devastated kingdom, led the remnants of the kingdom's army to destroy 17 marine warships, and killed Marine General Rubio. In October, the 5 elders of the world government suddenly arrived. It was difficult for the guardians to fight against the 5 elders. The remnants of the kingdom's army were completely lost, and the citizens were almost slaughtered by the celestial dragons. The guardians burned themselves with the power of the hurricane fruit in the awakened state. Lives, destroying the ships in the waters of Atlan. In November, I took my 6 surviving subordinates back to my hometown of Crab Island, which was destroyed by the celestial dragons, and engraved the historical text here. Lilith looked at the content of that part of the ancient text. Is this one of the historical texts? She told Noah about the situation, and Noah asked someone to make rubbings of the historical text inside. There are not many things in other small caves. The only valuable thing is a set of special techniques carved by the survivor. This special set of technology is called Atlan Deep Sea Diving Technology, which includes sharkskin swimsuit technology, artificial gill technology, deep-sea submersible medicine technology, and Poseidon-like breath simulation technology. Noah evaluated this technology. This technology is indeed of great value to races other than fishmen. Shark skin swimsuit technology is nothing, but artificial gills, deep-sea diving, and Poseidon-like breath simulators are very high-tech and have a wide range of uses. Gardino's wax gills and Ajai's graphite gills are both creations of specific fruit abilities. They are most suitable for their own use only, and others can only use them for a short period of time. The artificial fish gills of the Kingdom of Atlan are industrialized products that can be popularized on a large scale. Similarly, deep-sea occult blood medicine is an indispensable consumable for terrestrial creatures swimming in the deep sea. If you do not use deep-sea occult blood medicine, not only will the diving depth be limited, but you will also easily get diving sickness, which may even be life-threatening. The last technology in this set of technologies, Poseidon-like breath simulator technology, provides a relatively safe guarantee for divers. After all, the most dangerous situations when swimming in the sea are often large sea beasts and Poseidons. Especially in the Grand Line, even ordinary marine lieutenant generals would shy away from those terrifying large Poseidons. However, Noah also discovered the shortcomings of this Poseidon-like breath simulator. The sea breath simulator invented by Vegapunk is equivalent to making Poseidon invisible to itself. The Poseidon-class breath simulator is equivalent to simulating yourself into the Poseidon class. The problem is that the Poseidon class is also intelligent, and they can communicate and fight with each other. In other words, if you use a Poseidon-type breath simulator, it may be regarded as a competitor invading the territory by other Poseidon types. This thing can only be used in the 4 seas, and is used to drive away sea beasts. Once it enters the Grand Line, it must be basically deactivated. Otherwise, it may attract the surrounding Poseidon types. Noah ordered his accompanying subordinates to make rubbings of these technical data. After finding no other secret treasures, the group did not leave Crab Island immediately, because he felt that the location of the Lost Sea was good. A user with the ability to awaken the hurricane fruit burned his life and formed a large-scale stormy sea area, turning this sea area into a desperate situation. Now, except for ships that accidentally enter the Lost Sea, almost no one will take the initiative to enter this sea area. The radius of the Lost Sea is about 500 kilometers. According to Noah's observation, there are 13 islands in it. As long as these islands are modified, the Lost Sea can serve as the Noah family's secret base in South Blue. Especially as Luo heals more and more Freyfanth survivors, Circassus Island has almost reached the upper limit of its population, and the Emperor Cumulus on Sky Island is not growing that fast, and there is no way to accommodate several people at once. Thousands of people. After discovering the special environment of the Lost Sea, Noah thought it was very suitable as a new development point. There are storms as a natural barrier, and there are more than a dozen islands in it. Among these islands, the largest one has a radius of about 11 kilometers. Noah quickly took action and moved all these islands to the central area of the Lost Sea. This area was also similar to the eye of a storm and appeared calm. Through sensory perception, Noah knew that this so-called Eye of the Storm area was actually the area where Atlan Island, the capital of the Kingdom of Atlan, was located. At this time, there was a large bottomless hole on the seabed of this sea area. Apparently, this was the result of Uranus's blow. Noah selected an area with relatively shallow water depth and thick rock formations in the sea near the large cave on the seabed, and placed 13 islands in this area. Then Noah went to the nearby sea and dug out a lot of rocks and sand to fill the bottom of these islands and strengthen the stability of their island bases. Finally, the Storm Islands, composed of 5 large islands, was formed. This marked the official establishment of the viceroyalty of the Storm Islands. Opened the wormhole, transferred a large number of young men from West Cassis Island, and began to build the Storm Islands. Chapter 70. May 17th, 1507 in the Haiyuan calendar. In the Red Continent between South Blue and West Blue, a secret tunnel was dug out quietly, and 2 small secret bases were set up at both ends of the tunnel. After digging the tunnel, Noah and his team drove a mediocre commercial transport ship, the Prosperity, and began to officially enter the southern waters of West Blue. As for West Blue, the winery had already secretly dispatched more than 20 professional agents at the beginning of last year to carry out secret intelligence work. The person in charge was Shirley. There are currently 6 major teams in the winery. They are Donghai Rum Branch, North Blue Vodka Branch, South Blue Tequila Branch, West Blue Sherry Branch, Paradise Gin Branch, and New World Champagne Branch. The captain of the winery is Tomani, and his subordinate organization is the Inspection Department. As Noah's temporary secretary, Crow has already completed information exchange with Shirley, the head of the West Blue detachment. Lord Noah, 2 of the 3 targets have confirmed their locations. Let me guess. The confirmed targets are Capone Becky and Daz Bones. Crow nodded. Lord Noah has a sharp eye. Noah shook his head. The obvious answer is that the woman is not so easy to locate. That woman naturally refers to Nicole Robin. During this trip to West Blue, he has many targets, including Nicole Robin. As for whether the other party is willing to join, this is not something she can decide. 2 determined goals. Which one is closer? Daz Bonus, he has been active in the Tulip Islands recently. He is about 10 days' voyage from us. Then let's go. The Prosperity transported a large number of hardware tools as a cover and quickly approached the Tulip Islands. At the same time, the undercurrent on the sea also became calm as Akiji swept through the entire South Blue. However, a red figure jumped into the cliff of 10,000 meters under the night cover of Maria Joya, who was high above. And all this, the guards on Maria Joya were not aware of it. The red-haired pirates set sail again, and after more than 6 months of sailing, they once again stopped at the Sabaody Islands. Yes, this is not the first time that the red-haired pirates have arrived at the Sabaody Islands. Sabaody Islands, inside Shaki's Ripoff Bar. Vice Captain, long time no see. Rayleigh, who had just returned from the autumn breeze at the population auction, poured herself a glass of rum. Shanks, aren't you planning to enter the New World? Ha ha ha, don't worry. Shanks and Rayleigh clinked their glasses. Forget it. I, the coder Lao Lei, will not be involved in the affairs of you young people. Let's drink. Rayleigh shook his head mockingly. Shanks smiled and said nothing. After taking a sip of rum, he turned his head and greeted Shaki, who was smoking a lady's cigarette at the side. Boss Shaki is getting younger and younger. Haha. If you need anything, you kid, just speak up. Shaki seemed to have read Shank's thoughts. Shank's expression became serious. I want Boss Shaki to help find some information about the CP organization, especially the ship escorting the secret treasure. CP organization? Shaki frowned. What are you looking for? Nothing, just some speculations that need to be verified. Shanks answered ambiguously. Rayleigh on the side guessed something, but he didn't speak. Shaki put out the cigarette but instead calmly, I'm asking for a very high price, so you have to be mentally prepared. Ha ha ha, no problem. Shanks looked like he was not short of money, which made Beckman's mouth twitch. Suddenly Beckman asked, Does the boss lady have any information about the hidden organization? Shaki shook his head. No, but if you meet each other, you'd better be careful. Although Marine did not disclose the details of the fight, my informant told me that Akiji suffered some minor injuries at the time, and Kizaru and the person with the Thunder Fruit ability fought against each other, and the two sides couldn't win. So powerful? Beckman fell into deep thought. Shank smiled confidently. Ha ha ha, don't worry, Beckman. If we really meet, we will not be weaker than each other. Beckman did not deny Shank's confidence, but as the vice captain and think tank of the red-haired pirates, he must consider various situations and be prepared just in case. 10 days later, Perfume Island in the Tulip Islands. In a small alley, a big man about 2 meters tall suddenly stopped, his fingers showing a metallic silvery luster. Come out. Slow and rhythmic footsteps sounded on the other side of the alley. A man wearing a white suit and unilateral glasses smiled and said, Dazzle the fast knife? Now that you know it, why ask even though you already know it? You are not interested. Who sent me? I'm not interested in dead people. As soon as he finished speaking, Daz appeared in front of Crow, and the fingers of both hands were inserted into Crow's neck. However, the moment his fingers were inserted into Crow's neck, his expression changed. Because the feeling after inserting your fingers is like entering air. Too slow. Crow's figure disappeared with the wind, but a voice sounded behind Daz. This made Daz's body tense up, and he immediately rolled forward. At the same time, his heels turned into sharp blades, and he kicked backwards. But he was too naive. Crow's voice sounded again, this time from the front. In the alley, Daz's face was very ugly. He was just like a wild cat with explosive hair. He was played by an invisible enemy more than 10 times. He couldn't even touch the opponent's clothes. Kakuza, it seems that you have run out of skills. The quick-cut fruit is really wasted on you. Dazina, who was already aroused to a high degree of nervousness, suddenly lost his defense. He roared angrily. Asterisk, asterisk, hole. You are attacking. Are you scared? Oh, then I will do as you wish. The next second, Daz felt a heavy kick in the abdomen, and his body was kicked more than 10 meters away. However, before he could react, he was kicked again in the back. Daz was like a football, being kicked back and forth by Crow, without even hitting the surrounding walls. Okay, stop playing. Noah on the roof also saw that Daz's strength level at this time was at the level of an ordinary Marine headquarters colonel. This was the result of the fruit's ability. Crow exploded instantly, and his fist covered with armed domineering force hit Daz's chest. The internal destructive energy instantly made Daz's internal organs feel like they were being shocked by electricity. Daz, who slowly fell down, was gently lifted up by Crow's hand. After capturing the target, the two quickly disappeared into the alley. Back aboard the Prosperity, Noah has no idea of transforming Daz into an apostle, at least not yet. After all, Daz is now a bounty hunter and is only 16 years old, so he is still in the stage where he can be transformed. If there is no way to carry out thought transformation, then the only option is to transform them into card apostles. But Noah believes that the other party will be a talented person who understands current affairs. Chapter 71. Daz, who had a headache, opened his eyes and patted his face, and then he could see the surrounding environment clearly. The unfamiliar ceiling, the bed that shook from time to time, and the obvious sound of waves all indicated that he was on a ship at this time. He quickly recalled that he was defeated by a man in a white suit and glasses. It seems that he was taken aboard by that guy, but why didn't he kill me? Did he want to sell himself to a slave trader? Or recruit him? Just when Daz was thinking wildly, the cabin wooden door slowly opened. Are you awake? Eat something and follow me to meet the head of the family later. An elite member of the family looked at the vigilant Daz and said, then put down a plate of food nonchalantly. Gula. Daz, who was aroused by the hunger of the food, remained silent. After the man left, without any hesitation, He directly picked up the spoon and put the seafood fried rice into his mouth. As for whether the other party would poison him, Daz had no doubt at all, because if the other party wanted to kill him, there was no need to waste a bottle of poison, just wipe the neck with a knife, and then throw it into the sea to feed the fish. Wouldn't it be more straightforward? After finishing a plate of fried rice, I drank a large bottle of watermelon juice. The next moment, the wooden door was opened again. The temporary crew member looked at the eaten food and threw down a new set of clothes. Change into it. Daz looked at his tattered clothes, then picked up new clothes and put them on. Let's go. Follow the temporary crew to the captain's cabin. At this time, Noah was reading a book, and his body was still surrounded by dense iron sand. Daz's eyes narrowed when he saw this scene. Not only was he shocked by the various changes in the iron sand, but more importantly, Daz recognized the true identity of the elegant man in front of him. Are you the leader of the Hidden Ones? Noah raised his head and stared into Daz's eyes calmly. Are you scared? Haha, you're kidding. Who wouldn't be afraid of a monster that can fight Vice Admiral Marine? You are honest. I appreciate you even more. Noah's iron sand pulled up a chair. Sit down and talk. After calming down, Daz sat down directly. You want to recruit me? There is this idea, but it still needs some time to investigate. What if it doesn't pass? What do you think? Noah asked with a half-smile. Daz, who has been working hard in the bounty hunting industry for several years, naturally knows what Noah means. In order to keep secrets, such a secret organization will definitely not allow insiders to leave the organization casually. However, Daz was not too disgusted. After all, this world is just like the law of the jungle. Instead, he asked some questions in his heart. I would like to know, what is the purpose of your organization? Purpose? Noah opened the window and looked at the blue sea and sky in the distance. I want to liberate the entire world and build a brand new world. A country where all races coexist peacefully, are prosperous, free, and fair. Daz was speechless. He thought Noah would talk about his dream of finding a great secret treasure and becoming One Piece, but he didn't expect it to be this more terrifying dream. Do you think my dream is unrealistic? Noah asked with a smile. Daz was silent for a moment, and then expressed his thoughts. Although I do think this dream is a bit far away, I still admire your dream. I never think that my dream cannot be realized, because from the moment I came to this world, my thoughts have taken root and sprouted in this world. Even if I die one day, the thoughts I left behind will still make people happy. My dream came true. Noah's language was very calm, but his courage was unprecedentedly high. Although the aura did not explode, Daz on the side could feel the hot, red, and vast conqueror's aura. Even if you die because of this, don't you regret it? If you have the ambition to make sacrifices and dare to teach the sun and the moon to change the sky, if you don't have the courage to sacrifice your life, how can you even talk about dreams? I understand. Please let me follow your footsteps. I also want to see the so-called new world. Welcome to join, my partner. You will see a whole new world. Daz stood up and said, Chief, please give me more advice in the future. You can call me Noah or the head of the family. Of course, if you are outside, you can call me president or boss. I see. Crow, who had been waiting outside for a long time, heard that Daz had agreed to join the group, so he knocked on the door and came in, and then brought Daz over. New members, especially those with potential, need to be gradually transformed according to procedures. Whether it is ideological education, knowledge popularization, domineering training, physical exercise, and fruit development, these projects will be gradually arranged. On the ship, Crow could only act as a temporary instructor, imparting various knowledge to Daz. After the trip to West Blue is over, Daz will definitely go to the training camp on Rum Island for about a year before becoming a formal member. Unknowingly, Prosperity sailed in West Blue for more than a month. During this period, they passed through 13 islands and found a devil fruit on one of the islands. It is a mantis fruit of the animal type and is considered a relatively valuable fruit. After all, a mantis has the characteristics of flight, great strength, camouflage, and insect perception. If it is developed well, it will be at least a lieutenant general level master. But Noah did not forget the goal of this trip. This day, in the mist and rain, the Prosperity slowly lowered its sails and anchored in White Harbor, Sicily. Noah looked at the members of the Gambino family who were blatantly collecting protection fees on the pier, with a smile on his face. The 5 major mafia families of West Blue are really like earthly emperors. President, I have just talked with several disciples of the Gambino family, and they said that the day after tomorrow is the date for the Sicilian auction. Crow reported the situation in a low voice. The day after tomorrow? Noah played with the tarot cards in his hand. The probability of Capone Becky participating in the auction is more than 80%. It seems that we just need to wait here and wait. Soon the group checked into a hotel at the port. The entire island of Sicily became more and more lively as the auction approached, but violence and chaos followed. On the island of Naples, very close to Sicily, Capone Becky, who had arrived secretly, looked at the information collected by his men. His eyes were fixed on one of the pages of information, which contained pictures of devil fruits at the auction. Castle fruit? Ha ha ha. It seems that we must take action against the Gambino family in advance. Boys, execute Plan B immediately. The combat team will follow me to participate in the auction. Yes, Godfather. With Becky's order, the power of the Capone family almost came out. As one of the 5 major mafia families, the Gambino family will naturally not take it lightly. In order to ensure that the auction can be held smoothly, they have secretly arranged for a large number of masters to be stationed in Sicily. A good show of a mantis stalking a cicada, followed by an oriole, is about to take place in Sicily. Chapter 72. Sicily. San Rafael Cathedral. Noah sat in front of the big clock on the top of the church. Tamani, who came to support through the wormhole, used colorful camouflage to turn the location of everyone into a row of stone statues. While maintaining the sharp edge of his hands, Des tried to stimulate the domineering force of the armed color. He had taken the source blood potion in the past few days, and his physical fitness was rapidly increasing. At this time, he could vaguely feel the armed color in his body. Domineering. Crow poured Noah a cup of black tea and stood aside like a professional butler. The breeze blew gently, and the big minute hand on the back slid slowly, pointing to 9 o'clock in the morning. In a tall building about 1 kilometer away from the church, the Sicilian auction is in full swing. But soon, fierce gunshots and explosions were heard at the auction. The next moment, a wormhole opened next to Noah, and Alii, wearing a white suit and a mask, walked over from the opposite side of the wormhole carrying a small box. Did you succeed? Fortunately, the castle fruit is here. Alii opened the small box, and inside was the castle fruit. And the other side, Capone Becky went straight to the auction storage room and killed a dozen Gambino mafia guards. With an excited expression, he opened the door of the storage room, and then found the small box containing the castle fruit. After opening the small box, there was a castle fruit lying inside. Ha ha ha, castle fruit. This is the fruit I have always wanted. Capone Becky picked up the fruit without hesitation and took a big bite. Delicious, huh? Capone Becky suddenly stopped and looked at the flesh after biting into it. The taste was similar to a mixture of cheese and cream, which made him a little confused. It's not that the devil fruit is very difficult. Do you want to eat it? This castle fruit is not unpalatable. He took several more bites and found that it tasted pretty good. But after a while, his face became very sad because he didn't feel the devil fruit's power. Didn't he eat it all? Capone Becky swallowed all the remaining pulp, but after a while, there was still no movement in the fruit's power. How could this happen? Is this castle fruit fake? Damn it, Gambino off. Damn you. Capone Becky clenched his fists angrily. Godfather, Gambino's support is here. Hearing what his younger brother said, Capone Becky's expression turned even worse. Retreat immediately. Boom, boom, boom. The surrounding area was hit by a large number of rockets, and the violent explosion caused heavy casualties to a large number of Capone family members. Capone Becky, who was holding a younger brother to block the knife, already felt something bad. Soon, amid the fierce gunfire and explosions, the number of members of the Capone family around them became fewer and fewer, and finally only Capone Becky and a dozen younger brothers remained. At this moment, Gambino off, the godfather of the Gambino family, came out of the bunker with more than 300 family elites. Becky, hand over the devil fruit and 10 billion Baileys, and I can let you go, otherwise. Haha. Ov, I didn't expect that all this was your plan. I really underestimated you before. Seeing this scene, Capone Becky knew that today was dangerous, but he still pretended to be calm. I have already eaten that fruit. What? Alfu's eyes suddenly became fierce. But I can compensate you. How about 20 billion belly? This left off in a tangle. But Capone Becky's face was very calm, but various thoughts flashed through his heart. Strange. Alf didn't know that the castle fruit was fake? Did he also know that this fruit was fake? Or was he tricked in the middle? However, this result made him more confident to escape. Ov, the fruit has been eaten by me. If you are sure that you want to die, then I can only use the devil fruit ability to die with you. Even if I can't kill you, I can also severely injure you. Gambino family, you don't want to be robbed by other families, right? Aof became even more confused. Noah and others on the cathedral looked at the secondary simulation of electromagnetic waves. A look of disdain appeared on Crow's face. It's true that the mud can't hold up the wall. I've clearly warned you secretly and let the Capone family sneak attack. Capone Becky. He is indeed a character, but it's a pity that his ambition is too great. This kind of thinking has already been formed, and there is no value in reforming it. Brother, the negotiation between the two parties is over. Looking at Capone Becky strutting away in the picture, Noah had no expression on his face. Act as planned? Yes. Capone Becky and his party after leaving Sicily. He was rushing back to the family's base camp at full speed. Although he did not get the castle fruit this time, Capone Becky completely recognized the idiot nature of Gambino off. Obviously, he did not intend to fulfill the promised 20 billion Baileys, and even planned to take the opportunity to kill the Gambino family. Right now, on the sky, a shadow pressed down. Capone Becky subconsciously raised his head and his pupils suddenly shrank. Golden Lion? However, Noah had no nonsense thoughts and simply crushed conquerors. Even Capone Becky was instantly stunned and knocked unconscious. The fluttering fruit was patted casually, and the boat and people were pulled high into the sky. Noah was carrying the unconscious Capone Becky, and Luo, who was waiting in the cabin, saw Capone Becky. Is this the target of the surgery? Let's do it. Luo opened the operating room with ease and completely removed Capone Becky's frontal lobe. Noah casually took out the castle fruit, stuffed it into Capone Becky's mouth, and then drew the world from the tarot cards. A golden cocoon surrounds Capone Becky. Soon Apostle Becky was successfully transformed. World, Capone Becky, castle fruit, Apostle Becky, who was kneeling on one knee, greeted Noah with fanatical eyes. My lord, your servant Becky salutes you. Becky, your mission is very simple. Unify the Mafia in West Blue. I appoint you as the interim governor of the West Blue Governor's region, as commanded. That night, Ali and Noah raided the Gambino family's headquarters. Without anyone noticing, he turned Gambino off into an ordinary apostle and used the bully dog fruit he had obtained before. By controlling off, he quickly took control of the Gambino family. Complete initial control of both Mafia families. Then the other three Mafia families can be quickly eliminated. Through mutual consumption and secret designs, all the members of these gangs who have committed the most heinous crimes will be eliminated in internal strife. This is also part of the plan. After all, the Noah family will not accept those Mafia members who have committed heinous crimes. In this way, the internal purification of the 5 major Mafias can be completed secretly. Naturally, Noah does not need to carry out such small things personally. Under the leadership of Mary, the entire inspection department secretly settled in the Capone family and began to conduct a large-scale internal screening to prepare for the next large-scale purge. At the same time, Becky and Off also secretly ordered their subordinates to investigate the whereabouts of Nicole Robin. Chapter 73. Newfoundland Islands in West Blue West North Blue Domain. The headquarters of the Capone family is on York Island in the archipelago. After more than a month of secret screening and cleaning, Apostle Becky has eliminated the core members of the Capone family and replaced them all with elite members of the Noah family. At the same time, he has also absorbed some of the lower-level members of the Capone family who can be transformed young man. In order to properly clean up the core members of the Capone family, Becky and Off cooperated many times and planned several sneak attacks on each other, using each other's hands to eliminate dissidents. After the initial internal cleanup was completed, Becky handed over part of the management work to elite members of the Noah family, and she cooperated with Noah to carry out experiments. Inside an underground cave on York Island, a mafioso who was full of crimes had his frontal lobe cut off and became in a state of confusion. Then Noah picked up the cut carp fruit and stuffed it into the other person's mouth. Becky saw the experimental subject eating the devil fruit, and then swallowed it into the castle space inside the body. Inside the castle space, several people who were already on standby quickly brought the experimental subjects into one of the rooms. This room was filled with fruits of the same type as carp fruits. Then cut the subject's throat with a knife. As the experimental subject died, the carp fruit information body in his body began to be unbound from the experimental subject's soul. However, as soon as the carp fruit information body separated from the experimental body, it encountered a space barrier that could not be broken through. There is a special space barrier between the castle space and the outside space. Unless Becky opens the exit, the two spaces are completely isolated. The carp fruit information body bumped around in the castle space until 10 minutes later. it crashed into one of the apples and transformed the apple into a carp fruit again. The person responsible for monitoring the room quickly discovered the apple that had turned into a carp fruit and immediately reported the matter to Becky. Outside in the laboratory, Lord Noah, the experiment was successful. Successful? It seems to be as expected. Noah had actually already done some research and speculation on the rebirth mechanism of devil fruit. From the memories of past lives, we can know two ways of fixed rebirth of devil fruit. They are the gravity lock of the dark fruit and the faith lock of alabasta. In addition, Noah also analyzed the third method from the dark fruit method to regenerate the devil fruit permanently, which is space locking. Since the gravity of the dark fruit can attract the devil fruit information body, the alien space should also be able to do the same. After all, the small alien spaces generated by other fruits are relatively independent of the pirate world. The information body of the fruit cannot even break away from the strong gravity. The strength of the space barrier in the different space is higher than the strong gravity. It is bound to be difficult for the fruit information body to break through its blockade and can only be forced into the fruit in the different space. As for the rebirth method of this alien space fruit, why has no one else researched it? The answer is very simple. On the one hand, fruits with different dimensions are very rare. Currently, the fruits with different dimensions are known to be dark fruit, door fruit, tun-tun fruit, castle fruit, swamp fruit, mirror fruit, book fruit, and card fruit. The spaces of the card fruit and the book fruit are static, and there is no way to kill people and get the fruit in the spaces of these two fruits. Therefore, there are only 6 fruits left to implement the plan of killing people and getting results. But without the god's perspective of an observer, the natives of the pirate world rarely think about this and can only rely on luck. In other words, unless the users with the above 6 fruit abilities pull other devil fruit users into a different space and kill them, and there are a lot of fruits in the different space, it is possible to discover the secret of fruit rebirth. And this possibility, among the 6 fruits, those with the ability of the dark fruit have the highest probability of discovering the secret of rebirth. Why do you think so? First of all, the alien space of the gate fruit is the inner world of the pirate world, which means that the alien space opened by the gate fruit is not a portable type. This leads to the fact that the gate fruit does not have the function of storage, and people with abilities will naturally not be able to carry it with them. Store fruits inside. After all, if you store fruits in the other world of the Sabaody Islands, you will not be able to get these fruits when you enter the gate of opening in the new world, which loses the meaning of storage space. The same is true for the mirror fruit. Although the Tunton fruit, the castle fruit, and the swamp fruit have a certain probability, the possibility of capturing a devil fruit user is relatively low. The dark fruit can disable the abilities of the Esper, and the dark space where it can absorb items makes it more likely to encounter the situation where the Esper and the fruit are in the dark space at the same time. If Noah guessed correctly, the reason why Marshall Teach never forgets the dark fruit is because he once obtained the information left by a certain dark fruit user and knew that the dark fruit can suck the killed person into the dark space, and then store the fruit in the dark space, forcing the fruit information body to be reborn in the dark space. But this does not mean that the ability to force the fruit to regenerate is the exclusive ability of the dark fruit. Originally, Noah planned to use the Tunton fruit to create an apostle and then test this guess. However, he found that the castle fruit was more suitable for experiments, so he conducted this experiment. When the carp fruit was placed in front of Noah, the smile on his lips became brighter and brighter. Soon he took out the ability user that had been sealed before. Guro, the one with parrot fruit ability. D***K, the turtle fruit user. Austin, the user with earthworm fruit ability. Katrin Daime, a user with nine-tails fox fruit ability. And Diamanti, who was made into a card apostle. These people were not transformed into apostles by Noah, but remained in the sealed cards. Now it is finally time to use them as waste. As for the reason why Diamanti was included in the recycling scope, the reason is very simple. Because Diamanti's paper of life is in the hands of the Don Quixote family, and the flying fruit is not cost-effective, so Noah chose recycle the fruit. Send these people into the castle space. Not a moment. 5 freshly baked devil fruits were placed in front of him. Including these 5 devil fruits, the number of devil fruits currently reserved by the Noah family has reached 17. Paramecia's Tunton fruit, paste fruit, childlike fruit, sound fruit, and floating fruit. Common species of animals include carp fruit, rattlesnake fruit, red fox fruit, crow fruit, sheep fruit, red spider fruit, mantis fruit, parrot fruit, turtle fruit, and earthworm fruit. The vampire fruit and the nine-tails fox fruit of the animal-type phantom species. He thought for a while, and then used the phone to instruct Alii to bring the 6 detachment leaders from the winery. As one of the first elite members of the family, being able to stand out and become the leader of the detachment is obviously not just about strength, but more importantly, ability and loyalty. These people have made great contributions to the family's intelligence system that opened up the world in the Great Sea Route. Noah did not continue to store these fruits, but planned to distribute them to these new cadres. After all, the potential of many family members is limited. Even the outstanding cadres will find it difficult to reach the level of Marine Headquarters Lieutenant General with their physical skills, swordsmanship, and domineering. At this time, the value of devil fruit is reflected. Chapter 74. The first winery official to arrive. It is Shirley who is in charge of the West Blue Branch. She is an ordinary-looking girl with long sea blue hair. She is from the Kingdom of Rum and is 18 years old this year. Then there is Tequila, the head of the South Blue Branch, a tall man with light red skin, born as a street child in the Kingdom of Ula, and 19 years old this year. The head of the Paradise Branch, Jun Songzi, is a black-haired young man with some facial paralysis, an orphan from the Rum Kingdom's Mackerel Port. He also carries a long sword on his back and is 20 years old this year. Rum, the head of the Donghai Branch, is a fat man with a smile and is 19 years old this year. Vodka, the head of the North Blue Branch, is a red-haired young man with a big scar on his face, an orphan from Rog Town, 20 years old this year. The head of the New World Branch is Champagne, a girl with blonde curly hair, wearing gold-rimmed glasses, an orphan who was abandoned in Orange Town, and is 18 years old this year. Sir Noah. The 6 people greeted Noah respectfully. Noah waved his hand. Sit down. It's been almost 2 years since you graduated from the training camp. I called you here today to reward you for your hard work. Everyone immediately beamed with joy when they heard this, but out of respect for Noah, they did not say anything, but quietly waited for the next step. Noah took out a dozen boxes from the card space. These 14 devil fruits are currently unallocated. You can choose one according to your needs. Looking at the row of small boxes in front of them, everyone's eyes became even hotter. Soon they picked out their favorite fruits. Shirley chose the pulpy fruit. Agave picked the rattlesnake fruit. Rum chose the fluttering fruit. Juniper picked the mantis fruit. Starscream fruit was chosen for the vodka. For the champagne, Ninetails fox fruit was chosen. Since you have chosen, then eat it. Yes, thank you Lord Noah for the reward. Everyone couldn't wait to eat the fruit. Although the taste was indescribable, they didn't leave a piece of fruit pulp behind. This is a family rule and a manifestation of their consciousness. Noah is quite optimistic about the fruit chosen by everyone. These fruits are relatively biased towards the intelligence system, whether it is the pervasiveness of the paste fruit, the imitation transformation of the ninetails fox, or the infrared sensing of the rattlesnake, the environmental sensing of the red spider, the environmental color and flight of the mantis, the fluttering flight and storage compression, both of which can be applied to intelligence theft. After eating the fruit, Noah gave some guidance on how to develop their abilities. Although except for the paste fruit and flying fruit, the others are all animal types. But this does not mean that there are no other development ideas for the animal type. For example, the rattlesnake fruit, as a snake, has general properties such as infrared sensing, hibernation life support, peeling, and toxins. Among them, the characteristic of peeling can be achieved by taking the blood source medicine specially developed by the family, so as to achieve rapid strengthening. Another example is the red spider. The characteristics of this species are rapid reproduction, speed, hiding, and gregarious living. It is also not weak in strength and has the ability to spin silk. All in all, every species has its own uniqueness. Common species of animals can sometimes become very powerful. The key is to find their characteristics. As for fruit awakening of the animal devil fruit is a relatively easy but very dangerous thing. The reason lies in the fact that it is easy to awaken. Being easy to awaken means that the person with the ability has not been able to temper himself and may not be firm enough in his heart, so that during the awakening process, the information body of the fruit will be turned against him. Therefore, Noah solemnly reminded everyone that they should pay attention to the training and strengthening of willpower to avoid being turned into beasts by the fruit information body and failing to awaken when the fruit awakens. As for the development direction of Paramecia's paste fruit and flying fruit, Noah has already imagined a lot in the Book of Demons. Shirley and Rum only need to apply to browse the Book of Demons and follow the above instructions. Ideas are developed. Since Noah was here, Shirley and Rum directly obtained the master copy of the Book of Demons. Rum turned to the part about flying fruits. Regarding the development of the flying fruit, Noah has used the method of ability extraction to make various attempts on himself. Therefore, the Book of Devils has very detailed information about the development of the flying fruit. Rum quickly mastered the various derivative abilities of the flying fruit. Coupled with the two-color domineering he already mastered, his strength is close to that of the Marine Headquarters Lieutenant General. As for the development of Shirley's pulp fruit, this superhuman fruit, many of it was Noah's idea. For example, pseudo-elementalization, non-Newtonian fluid defense, gel shaping, and gel fusion combined with the domineering power of the world. Among them, the gel series has the greatest potential. Although a person with paste fruit ability cannot create paste gel, she itself is paste gel. This means that people with abilities can achieve transformation, deformation, and integration through their bodies being gelatinized. The moment Shirley was hit by a prisoner on the training ground, she instantly turned into a puddle of paste. Then the paste stuck to the prisoner's body like super glue and quickly spread, covered, and wrapped it all over his body. Soon the prisoner suffocated to death because his mouth and nose were blocked with paste. But Shirley is still attached to the prisoner's body and can control him to perform various actions. Noah on the side reminded, even if the bodies of ordinary people are combined, there is no way to increase their strength too much, but you can ask Luo to help transform some special materials. Thank you, Lord Noah, for your advice. The attack power of the paste fruit itself is not too strong, but those who modified it can add various things. With Luo, a user with the surgical fruit ability, human body modification technology is almost at their fingertips. But you'd better not control too many modified people at once. After all, the paste fruit is not a puppet fruit. 2 or 3 is almost your limit. Well, I'll pay attention. Shirley naturally knows the limits of her abilities. Unless she can awaken the fruit, controlling 2 or 3 transformed people will be almost her limit. Based on the current technology accumulation of the Noah family, relatively powerful pirates were used as experimental subjects. After removing the prefrontal lobes, they used various pharmaceuticals for ripening and strengthening to create dozens of major, general-level modified humans with a lifespan of only about 10 years. It can still be done. If the original strength of the experimental body is relatively high, the modified person can even reach the level of Lieutenant General. However, after the prefrontal lobe is removed, this kind of modified person is basically a moron. It is difficult to even execute basic commands and can only be controlled by a combination similar to a paste fruit or graphene wires of a graphite fruit. The advantages and disadvantages are very obvious. After the fruit distribution this time, the winery cadres were trained on York Island for a month, and then they returned to the Four Seas and the Grand Line one after another. At this moment, news came from the Gambino family, allowing Noah to set sail. Again. Chapter 75. August 16th. 1507 in the Hyuan calendar. West Blue, Naples waters. A pirate ship is enjoying a rare afternoon. Captain Dirk took a sip of rum, squinted his eyes, and asked the deputy captain in a low voice, "Has the identity of that woman been confirmed?" One Eye replied in the same low voice, "Well, it shouldn't be wrong, but it's quite troublesome to take action. It doesn't matter. The Kimura family didn't want us to get 50 million Baileys before they were willing to give us that batch of arms and use her to pay the bill." Dirk's wishful thinking clicked. The girl hidden in the cabin, through the ears created by her ability, has heard the conversation on the deck. There was no joy or sadness on her face, as if she was used to this kind of betrayal. However, although her mood did not fluctuate much, she still prepared her small backpack. Suddenly, there was a howl of ghosts and wolves on the deck. "Boss, merchant ship found." "Where?" "To the northwest. It's about 6 kilometers away from us." "Ha ha ha, you guys. You've made a fortune. Come closer to me. Receive." In the cabin, the girl's face showed a hint of reluctance, but now she couldn't protect herself, so she could only pray that the merchant ship would escape quickly. The chase on the sea lasted more than an hour. At this time, the distance between the pirate ship and the merchant ship was less than 200 meters. The pirates on the pirate ship all showed cruel and bloodthirsty smiles, and they were gearing up, preparing hooks and planks to board the ship. However, the next moment, fear and panic appeared on the faces of all the pirates, because there were several people coming out of the air on the opposite boat. Almost in the blink of an eye, Crow and his 5 subordinates stepped onto the deck of the pirate ship. Quick! A pirate who was about to speak suddenly felt his throat go cold. Then he fell to the ground and twitched while covering his bleeding throat. Duerk looked fierce and brandished a long knife to strike at Crow. "Go to hell for lousy heart." As soon as he finished speaking, a hole appeared in Dirk's heart. Crow's figure appeared behind him, holding a still-beating heart in his palm. In the cabin, the girl saw this scene through her ability and was immediately frightened to the point where her hands and feet were cold, and her eyes were full of shock and fear. In her eyes, Dirk, who had a bounty of 35 million Baileys on his head, could easily kill hundreds of ordinary soldiers. But at this moment, Dirk was like a dead dog, collapsed in a pool of blood on the deck, so weak and pitiful. Within a few minutes, the lives of more than 50 pirates on the pirate ship were all wiped out. These pirates were not even qualified to become experimental materials. Crow stood on the deck and picked up a bottle of rum to clean the blood on his hands and espada. "Aren't you going to come out?" Miss Nicole Robin. The sound made Robin in the cabin become more frightened and desperate, but she knew that she had no chance to escape. After all, this was the vast ocean. As a person with abilities, she couldn't even swim, so how could she escape? Not a moment. Robin, with a pale face, walked out of the cabin. She said nothing, with an expression of indifference. The corners of Crow's mouth raised slightly. "You are very sensible, Captain. All valuable things on the ship have been collected." Two subordinates moved out 2 large boxes containing treasures and Bailey. "Then let's go." Crow held Robin's backpack strap and moonwalked directly into the air. The other 5 subordinates also stepped on moonwalk, but 2 of them were still carrying a large box. Crow's legs suddenly exerted force, and in an instant, more than a dozen launchy air blades swept down. The pirate ship was immediately dismembered into more than a dozen pieces, and the wreckage slowly sank into the sea. "Gulu." Robin swallowed. After a while, the group returned to the Prosperity. Crow took Robin to the captain's room. Noah, who didn't pay too much attention to what was happening outside, looked up and saw Robin with a desperate look on his face. His face was slightly green, but also had a trace of tiredness that had been experienced through many vicissitudes of life. Stopping writing, Noah controlled Iron Sand to pour a cup of black tea to the other party. The steaming cup of black tea floated to the tea table on one side. "Sit down." Suddenly Robin's eyes were a little startled, and he asked with some uncertainty, "Are you Iron Man? The Iron Man of the Hidden Ones organization?" Marine's nickname is really vulgar. Noah didn't feel anything about this nickname, but as a cover, it was actually acceptable. Robin finally came to his senses at this time. In fact, she had paid attention to the hidden organization before. The reason was very simple. The man who made her senses extremely complicated had fought against the hidden organization just a few months ago. She calmed down and then sat on a chair nearby. "What are you going to do with me? I don't think you will hand me over to Marine for the 79 million Baileys, right?" "You are very smart." Noah took a sip of black tea, and then asked with a smile, "You might as well guess my purpose." Robin thought for a moment. "The most valuable thing in me is the historical knowledge in my brain. You need my historical knowledge to achieve certain purposes. Pride and prejudice are indeed inevitable flaws for everyone." Noah fiddled with the planet on the desk. "Your historical knowledge is of little value to me, because I actually don't have much interest in things from the past. Instead of focusing on the past, it's better to look to the future." Robin's mind went blank for a while, and then he slowly spoke. "But I am a historian, and my existence is to explore the history of the past." "Yes. So I can't let you leave." "Why? Are you, like the world government, afraid of past history?" Robin's tone became urgent involuntarily. Noah expressed his inner thoughts very calmly. "Because if you become someone else's pawn, it will hinder my plan. I don't want the enemy to gain more power, thus preventing me from subverting the entire world." Robin was speechless. Noah casually placed a book in Robin's hand. Robin glanced subconsciously, and her eyes were immediately attracted. The Book of Time. She opened the pages of the book, and more than 2 hours passed. This book contains a total of 7 rubbings of historical texts, as well as historical information collected by the Noah family from some ancient ruins, of which the Kingdom of Atlan has the most historical information. The origins of the 7 pieces of historical text come from a piece found on the bottom of the East China Sea, found 1 piece in the royal tomb of Alabasta, found 1 piece in the Alabasta Desert, 1 piece was found in the Sky Island Shindora ruins, found 1 block on Crab Island in South Blue's Lost Sea, found 2 pieces in the Forest of the Sea on Fishman Island. Robin let out a long breath. I didn't expect that the historical text that I dreamed of would suddenly appear in front of me with 7 rubbings." Then she asked with a hint of probing in her eyes, "Do you really not want to know the content of these historical texts?" "I said you are very smart, but smart people often like to think too much." Noah's eyes were piercing, as if he had seen through Robin's heart. "It doesn't record ancient weapon Poseidon and Pluton Pluto, and there is another the pirate named Joey Boy. What? Robin's breathing suddenly became rapid. You actually know the content above? So I said, your value is not great to me. Noah's indifferent expression made Robin feel helpless.
Thanks for watching. You can find the next videos in the playlist linked in the info card, directly on my channel, or right here on the screen. And as always, if you have any feedback, feel free to share it in the comments too.